on a Monday. You're super lucky.
Yeah.
We're super lucky.
So glad to be here with you guys.
Of course, we always love having Michael Kelley in the house. And if you are listening to us on the original 11:20 a.m., well, why? You should check out 104.1 FM, of course. Also, the Odyssey app. You can take us with you wherever you go.
Mm-hmm.
If you miss anything, you can download the Chris and Amy Show podcast, or really, you should do that anyway. Subscribe to the Chris and Amy Show podcast. And if you love the show so much, you can listen to it twice. Also, we're on Twitter at Chris Amy KMOX, the same with Instagram, and we love to hear from you. You can always contact us on the text line 314-436-7900.
Time now for the top of the order. The top 3 stories everyone will be talking about.
It is hot again. The heat returns with heat indices over 100 degrees, topping out at 110 in some places. Heat advisory until Wednesday night.
And St. Louis's, one of St. Louis's largest employers, Boeing St. Charles facility, gets a $75 million long-range guidance contract.
And the St. Louis Cardinals win the weekend series versus the Rockies. They will play the Phillies tonight at 6:45. The pregame show starts right here on KMOX at 5:50. That victory also means that the Cardinals are back at 500. Michael, how are you? How was your weekend?
Oh, my gosh. So I had thought about leaving town, but stayed in St. Louis. I was going to go up to Chicago, where the weather really wasn't that much better than it was here. That was probably the biggest decider. And stayed here, and it was ridiculous, stupid hot.
Yeah.
And went to a couple of pools this weekend. My first time at the pools this summer.
Oh, no, I have not been to a pool this summer.
Is that right?
Yeah, I have not been to a pool this summer. So was it the kind of hot, though, where even in the shade,
yes,
it's just not comfortable?
Yes. So I think we've had this conversation before,
Mm-hmm.
but I would rather have the 2 weeks of ridiculous cold than the 2 weeks of ridiculous hot we just had because like you get out of your house, you walk to your car and you're sweating already.
Yeah.
No, you haven't been running. You haven't been working out. You literally are just walking from your house to your car, sweating. I don't like that.
I'm a big sweater. It's pretty gross. And I think this weather doesn't help me at all. Like, I have to keep towels in my car.
Really?
I keep
to
a
towel off?
to sit down on because you're sweaty.
How much water can be in that little body of yours?
I'm not even kidding. I met my mom and sister for coffee on Saturday morning, and it was late morning, so closer to lunchtime. And they were sitting outside because they don't like how cold it is in the air conditioning at like a Starbucks. You know, some places are really cold. So I get there and I'm like, oh no, they're sitting outside. So I sit outside. I mean, I'm there for 15 minutes. I'm dripping. I know. I don't know. I think they just don't get hot. But I am dripping. I had to sit on a towel in my car because it's not good for the seats to be all sweaty on the seats.
Do you have the seats that you push the button and they heat and they cold?
I don't have air-conditioned seats. I have heated seats.
You have heated seats, which is lovely in the winter.
Do you have air-conditioned seats?
Yes. But I don't really know what it does other than blow some air. You know what I mean? It's not like it's really chilly air. But there is nothing better than those heated seats in the winter. Although that's weird to be sitting outside in 100-degree weather just because you're afraid of the air conditioner inside the house.
Well, I mean, it does. I'm wearing a sweater today. Like, it is hot outside, but I do bring a sweater or a jacket. Matthew, I know, you complain about the cold. He's a big complainer.
I run pretty cold, and I think it is just so cold in this. In the sports office, my hands lock up because I just can't type as well as I used to because my fingers are so cold. But it's better than being too warm. I'll give it that.
You always put more clothes on.
I'm wearing 2 layers right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to warm up in this
Interesting. It's kind of weird to have to think about, oh my gosh, it's going to be 100-degree day today. I'm going to be in my office and I need to bring a sweater.
Yeah.
But most women that I know, that's the case, right?
Yeah.
The cold in the offices
It gets
is
pretty
miserable.
chilly. Yeah. But like I said, I'm not complaining because we've had it so hot in here. Okay, this is apropos of nothing. I just found it interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I Googled and Google was right and I was wrong, but let's say you have popsicles and ice cream sandwiches. Okay?
Okay.
And you need to keep them cold, like frozen, for 2 hours. If you take a cooler and fill the cooler with ice and shove the popsicles and ice cream sandwiches in the ice, will those be frozen in 2 hours?
I think the ice cream sandwiches will be, because I'm not sure it's like real ice cream.
Okay.
And why wouldn't the popsicles stay frozen?
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I was going to say, no, it's not a freezer. It's a cooler with ice in it. It doesn't make it a freezer.
But you've shoved them. They're surrounded by ice.
She packed them in.
The ice isn't melting.
But I don't think the ice in your cooler is the same temperature as your freezer.
Okay. Well, as it turns out, the child in the room is right. Because I Googled it to see if these popsicles would stay frozen.
Right.
After 2 hours, I am sad to report that it was pure liquid. Like the ice cream sandwiches were pure liquid. And the popsicles were pure liquid within 2 hours.
That's not good.
Yeah.
Did you have one of those Yeti coolers, or did you have just a regular old cooler?
It was just a regular cooler. But it was filled with ice to the brim.
The Yeti may have done that, or may have saved you.
Apparently, I
don't know.
Googled, if you Google it, it says you have to use dry ice.
Yes.
And so that's the only way to keep popsicles and ice cream sandwiches frozen in a cooler.
And dry ice is not easy to find.
It's not good for, like, you shouldn't be touching it. It's not.
No, you can't touch it.
Yeah.
No, it'll burn you, right?
Yeah.
So anyway.
So I had a Yeti pouch yesterday to take to my little pool party. You know what I'm saying by like Yeti pouch?
Mm-hmm,
It's like and I don't know. I don't feel like it was as good as everybody says they are.
So mine wasn't Yeti, but I basically had a pouch. That's what I was. Yeah. What did you have in there?
I just took these sparkling waters. I'm addicted to these bubble waters.
Yeah.
And so when I go to a party or something, I bring them with me because I figure, what the heck? If I'm going to drink something, I might as well drink something I like.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this also happened. You spent the weekend at the pool. Over the weekend, I joined the dark side in one aspect, which is I played pickleball.
On purpose?
On purpose.
Why?
I know. Well, I was invited, and some friends of mine were playing at. Well, let me backtrack here. It was initially suggested that we play pickleball at Tower Grove Park because you constantly hear of the pickleball at Tower Grove Park. But I couldn't play. They wanted to play Friday night, and I couldn't play Friday night. And so another friend said, well, we can play indoor pickleball at the Missouri Pickleball Club.
Where's that?
I think there are a couple, but the one I played in was in Matt's hometown of Fenton. Yep.
It's part of the Club Fitness. Is in the same building.
It is part of the Club Fitness, which, by the way, that Gravois Bluffs, it is basically, it's like a parking lot where you think you hit Gravois Bluffs and you think you've arrived at the pickleball club, but once you've turned into Gravois Bluffs in the parking lot, there are 3 intersections. Yeah. There's stoplights in the parking lot. That's how big this whole Gravois Bluffs is.
Is it like a strip mall? Is that what Gravois Bluffs is?
It's kind of like, it looks almost like the strip mall in Chesterfield Valley.
Okay.
But you think you're there. You turn left.
Right.
You think you're at the Missouri Pickleball Club, and you are still 3 stoplights away, even though you're surrounded by parking lots. So we played at the Missouri Pickleball Club.
So this is like first time ever playing?
Technically.
You didn't know the rules, anything?
Third time ever.
Okay.
So I played once with friends on my most recent trip to Colorado.
Okay.
So they brushed me up on the rules because
Kitchen
it's different.
And all that stupid stuff. Keeping scores weird.
And then I had played about 3 years before that.
Okay.
So really, I would say my second time playing for all practical purposes. And we really got into it and we had fun. I can see how people get hurt.
Oh,
There's a lot of lunging. I'm pretty sore. Like my lower back is sore.
Really?
Yes, my hips and hamstrings are sore because I'm not used
and
to
you're like
lunging.
a world-class athlete.
Yeah, but I'm not. I'm running in a straight line at a steady pace. You know what I can run in a straight line. I'm not good at the lateral movement and the back and forth. But
how much lateral movement is there?
There was a lot. We played for 2 hours.
Really?
Yes.
Did you win? Any of the games?
Yeah. Well, we played doubles.
Okay.
And I won some of the games. I was recruited to be a sub in one of the leagues, which is fun because, like I said, I'm just learning the rules.
Right.
But I also found that I am very vocal when I play pickleball. Well, more like when I lose, I yell. Like
Darn it!
Yeah. I don't say bad words, but I'll scream, and I realized no one else was as loud.
Right. Or as invested, one might take it.
You know what? That's
you
a good
were
point.
invested.
I was
were just
invested.
there.
You know how you're playing someone and just by the person you're playing, you feel like I should beat this person.
Right.
So then when you lose a point, you're really irritated. Yeah. Or you're irritated with yourself when you've given up a point that you know you should have won.
Right. So after this experience, sounds like a couple hours was invested here. Would you do it again? And are you addicted, like the way that some people get addicted to golf?
Not addicted. I would do it again. I think an hour is enough. I think 2 hours was too much.
Okay.
I could play an hour. What it did make me want to do is go back to playing tennis. Because I grew up playing tennis. I
like
say
tennis.
high school, but I stopped playing when I was 15. So I really only played freshman, sophomore year. And I will say, I occasionally threw my racket.
Really?
Wow.
When I
Amy,
played tennis. I know.
This is so contrary to the stereotype people have of you.
I didn't throw the paddle because that would have been embarrassing. But I threw the I would throw the racket sometimes. And you're not supposed to throw your racket.
Right.
It's like, it'll get you kicked out of Wimbledon, I'm pretty sure.
Sure. I was walking on Saturday, and I walked on St. Louis U's campus, and they had pickup soccer going on. And so one of the soccer balls got kicked over the fence, and it was going down the street, and here it is. It's coming at me. So I picked it up, and I'm like, I'm going to punt this back into the
Oh, no.
And let me tell you, I did it, and it was
Did you?
awesome.
Nice.
Like, yes. I was like, hey, man, I looked really cool right there. Because I had fears, like, afterwards I was going to hurt myself or that it would go like 5 feet.
Right.
Yeah. See, isn't that the most rewarding thing now when you do sports activities at these ages, that you just don't make a nitwit of yourself?
No, it's true. It's so true. And I will say this. You know how, like in tennis and in pickleball, you can do like an overhead shot, like the ball's up above your head and you want to slam it.
Boom!
Yeah. And I did that a couple times, but at one point, a man subbed in and who was older, maybe in his 60s.
Yeah.
And also had a giant, like, ankle to thigh knee brace on. Like metal knee brace.
Right.
And I hit it at him 3 times in a row.
Did you?
Yeah.
You
And
were
the thing
going
is,
for the weak link.
he had old man strength. He got it back. And then I hit it out because I kept trying to hit it harder at him.
Old man strength.
Yeah, and he had old man strength and he got it back. And that was one of the times when I wanted to throw my paddle. That's Michael Kelley. I'm Amy Mark Scores. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Listen up. If you have not paid self-employment, business, or individual taxes in years, the IRS will find you. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. I offer real solutions. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120 or visit LanceDruryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset. So enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Sometimes historic events suck. But what shouldn't suck is learning about history. I do that through storytelling. History That Doesn't Suck is a chart-topping history-telling podcast, chronicling the epic story of America, decade by decade, from the 18th century to the 20th. Original music and immersive sound design accompany us on our storytelling journey. Listen to and follow History That Doesn't Suck, an Odyssey podcast, available now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Sprained wrist, ankle twist, broken thumb can't make a fist, busted knee, surgery, that patch of ice you didn't see.
Where pain starts, Jernavix suzetrigine begins. Jernavix is a non-opioid 50-milligram prescription tablet for adults with moderate to severe acute pain that reduces pain signals before they reach the brain.
Tendon tear, nose repair, tripping on that broken stair, dislocation, operation, moped crash while on vacation.
Do not take Jernavix with CYP3A inhibitors. Avoid use with grapefruit or liver problems as these may increase side effects. Tell your doctor about all your medicines if you are pregnant or breastfeeding. Jernavix may make certain medicines and birth control less effective. Side effects include itching, muscle spasms, rash, and elevated muscle enzymes.
Joint displacement, knee replacement, fell on marbles in the basement, bladder slip, broken hip, that rock climb where you lost your grip.
To learn more about Jernavix, ask your doctor. Call 1-833-589-PAIN or visit Jernavix.com.
You know, most sellers put their home on the market and they just wait to see what happens. Well, I'm Kevin Wheeler, and I'm here with Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And Gloria, is there a better way to sell?
There is. Instead of listing your home the traditional way and hoping for the right buyer, I can get you up to 8 competitive cash offers right from the start. That means you're not guessing what your home might sell for. You're looking at the real offers and choosing the one that works the best for you. It also helps you to set the right price and create stronger demand if you decide to go to market. It gives you control, leverage, and a clear path forward before you accept just any offer. And remember, I'll guarantee to sell your home at 100% of the market value, or I'll pay you the difference.
Before you sell your home, see what your options are. Call the one that I trust. That's Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession.
Muni in Forest Park. Shakespeare meets showbiz in the Muni debut of Something Rotten, a hilarious mashup that closes out the summer on stage August 17th through 23rd. Your seats are waiting at muni.org.
Think buying a home is out of reach? Think again. Scott Credit Union has down payment options as low as zero money down. Your new home could be closer than you think. Visit scu.org today. Equal housing lender, NMLS 415767. Terms and conditions apply.
One city, one voice. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Michael Kelley, Amy Mark Scores with you, and you've probably heard the story this morning about a woman in St. Louis who's facing charges after filing a false police report claiming that a vehicle had been stolen with her child inside. And so if you got an Amber Alert last night, in the middle of the night, it was most likely that one because, of course, that Amber Alert was sent out and there was a large police response. Well, she's facing charges because what happened is the person driving the Dodge Charger, I guess after maybe he got the Amber Alert too, called 911 and said, there's no child in this car. I didn't abduct a child, and that person would surrender to the police, which he did. I'm saying he. I'm not sure, but I'm assuming it's a he. But that person surrendered to the police. There was no child inside. Also, the car wasn't stolen, and the car didn't belong to the woman who called, and the woman who called had been doing drugs, and it was a whole ordeal. And this is actually I think it's such an offensive offense, I should say, because to issue an Amber Alert, you're sending it out to people all across the area.
Right.
You're wasting law enforcement resources. All of those police officers, all of that entire response, all of those, like I said, resources to help find this kid when it's a false alert. It didn't happen. It's pulling those resources from other areas that need that response. It's a ton of taxpayer money. And also you're crying wolf now when it comes to an Amber Alert. And there have been stories, especially this year. CBS News did a story. Other outlets have done stories on how there are so many Amber Alerts. People are starting to get alert fatigue.
Ditto.
And then you see that it's canceled.
Right.
Like, oh, it's canceled. When I get an Amber Alert, I assume it's going to be canceled.
Fortunately, I did not hear this one last night. I did see that it happened.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I didn't hear it, because usually it's supposed to like beep even over if you have your phone silenced. And it's really unfortunate that this individual chose to abuse the system because, I mean, the general purpose of an Amber Alert, I'm all for. I get it.
Right.
And goodness, if it were to save a child, that's incredible. But to abuse it this way, I mean, I hope it's like jail time and some ridiculous fine.
I would hope so, too, because this happened months ago with two women who claimed that a child had been abducted, and they admitted, or they admitted eventually that, no, there was no child. This child doesn't exist. Partly, my first hint that the child was fabricated was the height and weight were way off. It was like a 2-foot tall toddler. I think it was like a 6-year-old, but it was like 2 feet tall and 70 pounds.
Oh, my.
Which is like an Oompa Loompa. That's not how much children weigh. Right. Do you know, like when we reported what the police gave us, which was that this child had been abducted. Child was like 6 years old, like 2 foot 4 inches, 70 pounds. And I'm thinking, it took me a second because we're thinking news mode.
Right.
But it took me a second and I thought, did they abduct a bowling ball? Like, that's not how children, you don't have a 70-pound 2 foot. And as it turned out, the child doesn't exist. It was fabricated, and we're not sure why the women reported the child. Maybe they were trying to get a quicker response. But I think already when you do get Amber Alerts frequently, and it is good. I'm not complaining that they're canceled or that it turns out to be a false alarm in the sense that that's a better alternative. But you do start to lose the potency of an Amber Alert if people are dismissing it.
Not that I'm likening a tornado to an Amber Alert, but I've gotten that way with tornado stuff too. Because it's, I mean, obviously we lived through a tornado that killed people, etc., and there was no alert when that one went out.
Yeah.
But then I feel like since that, we're having alerts. And I don't know, maybe growing up in the Midwest, you kind of take a tornado alert as a grain of salt, whatever,
Up until last May, I kind of was a bit more cavalier towards tornado alerts.
Well,
than I
I'm
should
pretty
have been.
cavalier to them. And I do feel like, and I hate to say this, I do feel like I've gotten Amber Alert fatigue.
Yeah.
Because you're right. It seems like I've gotten 6 or 7 of them in the last year or so. And 5 minutes after they're dispatched, it seems like they say, oh, it was a false alarm, etc.
Yeah. And I know that they're trying to figure out the right system because there obviously is a need for immediacy if a child is abducted. But if you can't necessarily confirm that there was a child abducted, then sometimes it turns into these false reports or a misunderstanding. And I don't have the answer on how to fix it.
So this last night sounds like it was a domestic type situation gone bad and somebody was messed up on drugs wanting to...
I don't know about the domestic. All I do know is there were drugs involved, that the woman had been taking drugs. And and a giant waste of resources.
Well, that's terrible.
So I agree with you. There need to be some heavy consequences for that.
Totally. That's the only way that you're going to be able to deal with that is that it's... You have to make this so that when people utilize that system, it's really serious and it's not being used for this type of nonsense.
That's Michael Kelley. I'm Amy Mark. Scores when we come back. Good news for Boeing's St. Charles facility, the big old contract. And also, speaking of airlines, Michael Kelley knows how to fix Southwest, and I need to hear this.
We need to. We need to fix it.
It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The Cardinals conversation doesn't end when the game does. Watch the Gas House game, Redbird Rush Hour, Sports Open Line, and sports on a Sunday morning whenever and wherever you want. Plus, exclusive conversations with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol, president of baseball operations Chaim Bloom, players, broadcasters, and baseball insiders. Subscribe today to the KMOX Sports YouTube channel because Cardinals fans deserve a front row seat.
Give the gift of a magical experience at St. Louis Union Station when you take a real train ride journey to the North Pole aboard the Polar Express. Meet Santa and experience the magic of the Polar Express story with hot chocolate, treats, music, and sing-alongs. For those that truly believe in the spirit of Christmas, head down to St. Louis Union Station this year. Book your golden ticket before they sell out at stlpolarexpressride.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
Buckle up, Buttercup. It's going to be hot this week. We have an extreme heat warning all the way through Wednesday. I bet it gets extended all the way till the weekend. It's 83 degrees in downtown St. Louis, a high of 95. You heard all this real feel stuff is going to be up into the hundreds. Keep it tuned to KMOX as we'll keep you updated on all the changing weather conditions.
Brought to you by Staples.
All right, it's officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers, and more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
Summer is waning, sadly, I know, but you've had enough time now to really assess how your outdoor space is working. Is it working for you? You've probably noticed whether the deck is starting to buckle or splinter and needs replacing, or you'd really like a fence to separate you and your neighbor. Whatever it is in your outdoor space, it's never too late to call Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. Now, what does that mean, the sign you have the very best? Well, first of all, Chesterfield Fence and Deck has been around for 58 years, a third-generation locally owned family company. They also have an incredible reputation because they only use the best quality materials, and they have their own installation crews, which is very important because they have years of experience. And Chesterfield Fence and Deck is going to stand behind everything they do. When you mention me, Debbie Monterey, they'll also take 20% off your next outdoor project. So go with the best. It's Chesterfield Fence and Deck. You can visit them in person, or they'll come to you, or visit online now at chesterfieldfence.com.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Fly me to the moon, Let me play among the stars and let me.
Well, we're bringing in our aviation expert, Michael Kelley.
Is it because I fly occasionally?
Yeah, you work with Boeing.
Yeah.
If there's an airplane, there's Michael Kelley. So let's start with Boeing before we get along to Southwest.
Okay.
Which I am very excited to hear your solution for Southwest because
Yes.
I'm losing it. I'm losing it.
Fed up with Southwest.
So good news here in St. Charles because the Boeing facility in St. Charles was awarded a $75 million U.S. Air Force contract to build long-range bomb delivery kits. They'll be building that at the St. Charles facility. So just your thoughts. I mean, always good to get a contract.
Oh, yeah. And, that's one of the most efficient munitions plants in the entire world. It's out there in St. Charles. It runs 24/7. This is a huge contract, obviously, on top of what's already enormous contracts out there. And unfortunately, Amy, as the world continues to spiral in these wars, and we are providing a lot of those munitions that are being used by the Ukrainians and by the Israelis, and for that matter, most of all of our allies, I don't see a satiating of the need for those types of weapons for quite some time.
Well,
and so I see real opportunity for Boeing Defense, which is headquartered right here in St. Louis for the foreseeable future, and that's really good for St. Louis employment.
Yeah. I mean, how much, and not to get sidetracked here, but how much of the fact that we have Boeing here, we have so much of Boeing in District 1, which is Congressman Wesley Bell's district. But Cori Bush, who was running for that seat, was pretty open about defunding the Pentagon.
Right.
That's like a really bad matchup.
Yeah, not good. And the reality is the footprint of Boeing is so huge. Of course, we're all familiar with what we have at the airport, which is the F-15 and the F-18 that are produced there, the C-17, some wings that are produced there. We have Phantom Works, a lot of things that are supporting the war fighters that are out on the battlefield. You also have St. Charles, where the munitions plant is, and then over on the east side at Scott Air Force Base, Mid-America Airport, there's another facility where they're making some unmanned planes and trainers that are so important. Then you couple that with, Amy, all of those things, of course, are assembled here in St. Louis, but they have parts and widgets that get made throughout both Missouri and Illinois. And there literally are thousands of suppliers that are supplying Boeing with maybe a bolt, maybe a seatbelt, maybe it's just from the most minuscule to the largest thing that you can imagine are being provided by Missouri and Illinois suppliers. There are thousands of them, and it is really great that McDonnell Douglas, which is ultimately became Boeing, still has such a huge presence in Missouri. It is the largest private payroll in the state of Missouri. It is the largest taxpayer in the state of Missouri. It is the largest importer and exporter in the state of Missouri. So it plays such a huge role to our local economy, and kudos for the people of Boeing that keep it running and all the great people who work out there. I mean, they literally have rocket scientists out there.
Yeah. Well, and for this one, just to clarify, the Joint Direct Attack Munition is not a missile. So it is they're not building that missile. It's a delivery kit that allows greater precision on unguided bombs. It can deliver a 500-pound bomb at greater distances. So with that being said, is the St. Charles plant more weapons?
Yep.
And then the planes are at different plants?
Right. St. Charles is the weapons and munitions, and they do other things out there, but primarily the weapons and munitions. And then over at St. Louis at the airport, you have the huge airplanes that we're all familiar with, and then the new construction of that huge facility that they're going to build the new F-47 at on the, what is that? That's the east to northeast side of the airport. It's impossible to miss.
Yeah.
You're driving down 170 or Highway 70, and then over on Mid-America, there's a lot of stuff. And And while those are the main programs, there's lots of little things that are done at Boeing. And it just has such a huge impact. And I would venture to say that if you hear my voice, one of your neighbors probably works at Boeing.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. I was thinking, I went to 3 different events this weekend, and 2 of the 3 had friends who worked at Boeing just at the events, just completely unrelated. And I will say with when was it? Several months ago, we had a Boeing historian in.
Right.
And just like there is so much history with the space program and McDonnell Douglas, I want to go to the Boeing Museum because there is a museum.
Right. You can go, and now we're kind of talking about something I know a little bit about, but not too much. I think you can go on Boeing's website, but they do have a museum where they have all the stuff from McDonnell and Douglas aircrafts, and then McDonnell Douglas aircrafts. They've got replicas of the space capsules that were made right here in St. Louis. They have so many of the things that have made aerospace here in St. Louis, going back not only from Boeing, but into McDonnell and then Douglas aircraft.
All right, Michael. And of course, we always want to hear from you. 314-436-7900. Michael, you can fix Southwest Airlines for us?
I don't know if I can or not, but I'm frustrated with Southwest. Like, I used to like the cattle call aspect of it. Because, listen, there's nothing glamorous about flying, is there? No. I mean, remember the good old days when you see these movies, Catch 'Em If You Can, with Leonardo DiCaprio, and everybody's decked out in their suits, and they're going to go on flights and eat, drink wine and have chicken. That's over with. Now it's essentially a flying bus, right? Where we pack as many people in as we can. We rush from airport to airport, get people on and off. And from my perspective, a really unpleasant process flying. Southwest had figured it out. They realized you're done. This is not some swanky Tony thing that you're doing. You just want to get there. And then as a result, now they've changed their processes, right? And now we have regular seating. There's not the A group.
Yeah, it used to be
it's
so
not the
easy.
B group.
It was so great for people, like us, like maybe you're flying, it's just you or one other person.
Right.
You're not checking a bag.
Right.
So you know what? You could even pay $25 for early bird if you want to be in the A group.
Right.
You just find a seat that works for you.
Sit down.
Throw your carry-on in the overhead and sit down.
Sit down. And
it was
so
a good price.
The get-on, get-off process of the airplane was so much quicker than if you were going to the fancy places that had the assigned seats.
Yeah.
Now they've all got the assigned seats. Here's what I think Boeing ought to do. It's really about those first 10 rows, isn't it? That's
for Southwest?
For Southwest.
Yeah.
That's what the focus is on.
Okay.
And that's where they're charging folks who are going to pay a little bit extra, who want to be at the beginning of the plane, who want that extra legroom. Why not just sell the first 10 rows? Call it the first 10 and do those from a perspective of assigned seating. And then let the rest of the plane be like it used to be. And so remember how we had the A group, the B group, and the C group? The A group ought to be the first 10. So what? 10 rows, 3 C6, so 60 people would be in the first 10. And they have assigned seating. Let them board first, let them take it, and then let the masses just rush into the plane and grab a seat wherever they can. And let's hurry this process back up, because now it's turned into such a, it's almost as painful as any of the other airlines. And in fact, it is as painful as any of the other airlines.
And it's expensive now.
Totally.
You can't get that cheap flight, to Denver or to Florida anymore without, let me say this. You can, as long as you don't pick your seat and you're okay with boarding last. And for a lot of people, they think, well, it doesn't matter when you board, right? Because you're checking your luggage. But it does matter if you don't check luggage, which was why I loved flying Southwest. And so I have an upcoming trip. And of course, if you bought the basic, where you board last and you don't pick your seat,
you're not going to have a place to put your...
Right. It was like $230. But I had to upgrade my seat because I did not want to be in the very back of the plane. So I paid more to have the option to pick my seat. It's like the next level basic. And then all of a sudden I realized, well, wait a minute, I'm still boarding last. So I called Southwest and said, I paid $100 to upgrade my seat, but it says I'm still boarding last. And they said, well, that's because you upgraded your seat, not your fare. You have to upgrade your fare to board in group 3 or 4. And since you're boarding last, I can pretty much guarantee you're going to have to check your carry-on.
Yes.
There's not going to be room for you. And I said, well, can I upgrade my fare? They said, you can, but you're not going to get your money back for upgrading your seat. So it will be another $150. Now I've got, a $700 ticket to Denver. I'm not doing that. So she said that I could try when I check in with my flight to see if there's an option to pay to upgrade boarding.
Of course.
And I get it. It's not the worst thing in the world to have to check your carry-on, but it kind of is.
It is.
It's the little things in life that there's a reason I'm pretty strategic with packing.
Right.
So you can just throw your stuff in the overhead and walk right off the plane.
Yes. And we've just screwed it all up. And Southwest, it used to be my favorite, and now I dread it. And if you're here in St. Louis, it's pretty much your only option. I mean, there's some Delta and some American Airlines flights, but 99% of those flights out there, I'm exaggerating, are the Southwest flights, and it's just as painful as boarding American these days.
That's Michael Kelley. I'm Amy Mark Scores. We always love to hear from you at 314-436-7900. We had a texter who agreed with Michael that you need to fix Southwest because Southwest is such a large part of the air traffic at Lambert. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hey, making copies? Who are you? I'm future you. Oh, constipation with belly pain back again? Yeah. Our doctor figured it out. Your symptoms keep coming back because it's irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. And Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is the #1 prescribed branded treatment for IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily prescription pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2 years old. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
The 3-2 pitch with the runner going a swing.
Ready to elevate your game? Join the NBA Sportscasters Forum on Tuesday, September 15th in St. Louis. Learn from Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and Hall of Famer John Rooney as they break down play-by-play, reporting, interviewing, and covering the game. Then cap off the day with the Cardinals versus Giants at Busch Stadium. Step into the booth, sharpen your skills. Go to KMOX.com/events for details and registration.
What do parents think of back to school at Staples, where 24-pack Crayola crayons are just 50 cents?
Staples has folders, notebooks, and pens at great prices.
I'm smiling from ear to ear.
It's the most wonderful time.
Mom, I missed the bus of the year.
It's a wonderful time at Staples, where school supplies start at just 25 cents. Staples.
That was easy.
Visit your local Staples today or shop online and in the app. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply.
Here in St. Louis, word of mouth still matters, and I'm pretty careful about who I recommend, especially when it comes to something as personal as estate planning. I'm Tom Ackerman. My family has been working with the Lederman Law Firm for over 20 years now, and the reason is simple. They don't just create documents and send you on your way. They help make sure your plan works. Because let's be honest, life changes. Family needs and circumstances change. Laws change. But most estate plans don't change over time as needs, circumstances, and laws change. They're outdated, sitting in a drawer. People assume they're fine, and their plan will work when they need it to work. At the Lederman Law Firm, it's not a one-time transaction. It's an ongoing process. They build a plan to protect your family and your assets, and then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it up to date as both your life and assets change. Check out the Lederman Law Firm at ledermanlaw.com or give them a call at 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
When pain starts to slow you down, BJC Healthcare and WashU Medicine orthopedic specialists are here to help. Nationally recognized leaders in orthopedics deliver care that's informed by research and personalized for you. From everyday aches to complex injuries and recovery, we're here to help you get back to doing what you love. Find an orthopedic specialist today. Visit bjc.org/orthopedics or call 314-362-9355.
Don's Garage Stores has been serving families since 1998, and now we're bringing that same great experience to the Lou. We take pride in having a neighbor-first approach to doing business with local technicians who are your neighbors. Don's Garage Doors is new to the area, but we're not new to working extra hard to earn customer trust, one garage door at a time. From repairs to upgrades, call Don's Garage Doors.
Don's Garage Doors, Don's Garage Doors. When it comes to garage doors, no one knows more.
Your health story is shaped by more than genetics. Everyday choices like nutrition, physical activity, sleep, tobacco use, and routine screenings all play a role in your future health. Seidman Cancer Center's Your Disease Risk helps you understand how family history and lifestyle work together, offering personalized insights to support healthier decisions. Knowing your risks today can help protect your tomorrow. Visit seidman.washu.edu/YDR.
Chris Ranji, Amy Marks Kors. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM, KMOX. Now, did you see this? With Chris and Amy.
Well, I don't think Michael has seen this because he doesn't need gas stations with his electric vehicle. But apparently Buc-ee's, which I've never been to Buc-ee's. I've been to Wally's, which I love, and I'm a huge fan of Quick Trip, but I've never been to Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's seems to be rather litigious. It has a series of lawsuits that it's been filing because of alleged trademark infringement on the Buc-ee Beaver. So apparently they are suing the clothing, or they sued the clothing brand Born United because it has an apparel line featuring a beaver that's similar to the Buc-ee's mascot, and it's carrying an automatic weapon. And so Born United did pull that product from its site. A dog park in Missouri called Barky's, which was shut down as a result of the lawsuit. And there was a barbecue chain in Texas with a circular logo featuring a cartoon alligator, and a jury in Texas ruled that it was too similar to Buc-ee's. I don't know how a cartoon alligator is too similar to a cartoon beaver, but there was also another lawsuit that's gained a lot of attention, and it's a lawsuit against Mickey's convenience store in Ohio. Mickey's and Buc-ee's opened the same year, and Mickey's has a cartoon moose which has coexisted with Buc-ee's cartoon beaver for 35 years. But in February, Buc-ee's said that the Mickey's moose is too similar because it, quote, has a cartoon animal facing right with wide eyes and a smile.
Oh, my.
When does it end?
Yeah, all over gas stations.
You have to use a cartoon something.
I guess.
With a smile. I mean, to me, if you are a gas station with a cartoon logo, good chance it's going to be a smiling animal.
What I find to be interesting is people's loyalty and defense of their preferred gas station.
It's so
people
passionate.
who are like, oh my gosh, if you haven't been to a QT lately, their food is the greatest. Or, oh, I went to Wally's the other day and their brisket. You're just like, really? You go to a gas station to get brisket?
I do like Wally's.
weird.
Wally's has a beef jerky wall. I think they have a whole jerky wall. They sell Yetis.
They have good popcorn, too. You can buy a smoker or barbecue pit.
I think I'm sitting with somebody who may be committed to their gas station.
No, I like Wally's just for the like the tchotchkes they sell there. They sell like anything from like bars of soap to beef jerky, like you said. Yeah.
You know, it's Chris Ranji's dream to take a shower at a gas station.
That's weird.
A trucker shower.
And by the way, that's put him on the serial killer watch. Yeah. Hey,
if you get gas, it's free. If you don't get gas, it's $17.
This did you see this as a little self-indulgent? Did you see the Hancock and Kelley television show this weekend?
Okay, so I have it on my YouTube, and I record it every week, and
So
I
the
missed
answer here
it
is gonna
this
be
week.
no.
I missed it this week.
So our final thought.
Okay.
John Hancock made reference to President Trump's new flowing toupee. Have you seen that President Trump has gotten some extra new hair?
So
He did.
I've backed off of the national news a bit, and I heard that his hair looked like it increased, but I didn't go any further than that. So he got a toupee?
Well, I mean, he of course he wouldn't admit it. You know, he's always had the greatest hair. People have been talking. But obviously, something's going on there. President Trump's gotten a new toupee. Well, on the Hancock and Kelley show,
yes,
Hancock says,
"Yeah, I'm marrying my nephew."
Yeah, he says President Trump's got a new toupee.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes on this space next week for what he's going to do. So I don't know if Hancock is talking about suddenly he's going to come in with a new head of hair. But we're going to have to get the audio for you from it.
Yes.
Rebroadcasted right here on KMOX this past Sunday. But John may be getting a little head cover.
A piece.
Have you ever known, did John have hair when you first met him?
No, he had a mustache. He says before he got married. No, the entire time I've known him that he's been bald, and kudos to him for not fighting it. I feel bad for guys who have to deal with it, but fighting it's just, I don't know.
Well, until this week, we don't know what's going to happen.
I know he may come back. Can you see if a Hancock comes out with some big gray fro like mine?
Maybe Trump got the same toupee that Stan Kroenke has been getting. That's Michael Kelley. I'm Amy Mark Scores. Speaking of national politics, Michael Kelley has some thoughts on the Democratic Socialists of America, so you want to stick around for that.
I've noticed over the last 15 years, no, let's just say 10 years, how astronomical the prices to heat and cooler homes are for the equipment. Because there was a time when you would call me and it was affordable. If you have a house and you want air conditioning and you just want it to cool your house and you want to heat your house, I have a system that I made a special buy on that will do just that and save you money. Common sense will tell you if you just replace your old, and I'm talking 15, 20, 25, 30, 35-year-old system with a new system, you're going to save big dollars. If you're interested in that, call me. One easy number, Missouri and Illinois. It's 314-293-2600. Again, it's Bart Inman, 314-293-2600. God bless.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Soldiers Memorial Military Museum looks at American military history through the lens of St. Louis. From the Revolutionary War to the present day, the galleries showcase stories of local service members and delve into the city's wartime history. Outside, the Court of Honors includes monuments to those who lost their lives in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Open Wednesday through Sunday. Admission is free. Find information about special exhibits at mohistory.org/memorial. That's mohistory.org/memorial.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship
workmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
At 10 o'clock, we've got a cloudy sky downtown at the Arch. Right now, 84 degrees. St. Louis County is holding a public hearing on potential data centers tonight. It takes place at 4 p.m. at the County Council chambers in Clayton. The Planning Commission says the goal of the meeting is to develop potential recommendations before any specific data center proposals are submitted to be considered. A proposed $16 billion data center in Pacific is dead. The mayor posts that the Atlanta-based developer withdrew its application. It comes days after Pacific passed a one-year moratorium to give the city time to do land use studies and to get more community input. From ABC News. A jalapeno recall getting bigger. The Agriculture Department says 18 meat and poultry products like wraps, burritos, enchiladas, and salads could contain peppers tainted with salmonella. Grocery stores now on alert. ABC's Elizabeth Schultze.
They were sold at stores including Kroger, H-E-B, Walmart, and Albertsons with use-by dates between August 3rd and 16th. Now, along with that, Taylor Farms, the company linked to the record cyclosporiasis outbreak, tells us that it's recalling additional foods with jalapenos like guacamole and salsa. These products were sold at stores including Target, Whole Foods, and Trader Joe's.
Taylor Farms says it's not aware of illnesses tied to the foods at this time. Walmart says it's moving quickly to remove the foods, including pico de gallo. Iran's president says its new supreme leader is calling for unity as the Islamic Republic faces economic hardships and sanctions stemming from its war with the United States. Iran says talks with Oman to reopen the Strait of Hormuz are progressing, but stresses that resuming traffic in the strait is tied to U.S. concessions. A 25-year-old mother has been charged with a Class A misdemeanor after reporting a false Amber Alert. Here's KMOX's Jade Aubrey.
It started a little after 10:30 Sunday night when a mother reported that a Dodge Charger had been stolen with her one-year-old inside. Once the Amber Alert was issued, the driver of the Dodge Charger called 911 and reported there was no child inside the vehicle and that he intended to surrender. The Charger was found near Highway 370 and North 3rd Street in St. Charles shortly after. Upon questioning the driver, police learned the child was never inside the vehicle and it was not stolen as the mother did not own the vehicle. The SLMPD says the mother had been using drugs and was experiencing substance abuse issues when she made the report. Around 2:30 a.m. this morning, officers confirmed the child was safe in the Lincoln County area. Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
No one is sure why they were produced or how they ended up in a storage unit in Wisconsin, but a collection of ultra-rare Nintendo game cartridges is about to hit the auction block.
When someone brought in a box containing 97 Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt NES cartridges, the owner of One Shop Wonders in Waukesha, Wisconsin, was thrilled and confused.
These were printed about 2 years after the last known printing of these games.
Jason Ganos runs a site called Nintendo Wire.
Nobody has ever seen these specific carts before.
Made in 1993, the games look brand new. They may fetch millions at an auction that starts tomorrow. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
The Dow from Stifel's down 52 points to 53,984. We've got a stall on 70 going west at 141 on the right shoulder. There's a crash on 170 going southbound before the airport, and that has the right lane, right shoulder closed there.
An extreme heat warning remains in effect through 8 p.m. Wednesday with AccuWeather real fuel temperatures around 105 each afternoon. This afternoon will be hot and humid with clouds and sunshine and a high of 95. It clear to partly cloudy, very warm and sticky tonight, though just 80. Tomorrow, more sun than clouds. Another very hot, humid day, high 98. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Sponsored by Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. Right now, it's a cloudy sky, 84 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Sandberg Phoenix serves your business in litigation, intellectual property, and products liability. We're more than a law firm. We're committed to your success. Learn more at sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX and the free Odyssey app.
Michael Kelley, Amy Mark Scores with you. Well, a lot of the headlines and CNN, NBC, CBS, the national news has been the rise and the many victories of the Democratic Socialists of America. Obviously, Zoran Mamdani, the mayor of New York, gaining a lot of attention. He's really won the TikTok battle. And then you've also seen, candidates in Michigan and in Wisconsin. Well, the chair of the Democratic Socialists of America has gotten quite a bit of attention recently. Partly she went on Fox News and they asked her, we're going to ask you about the tenets of your party and you can tell us if you agree with this. Abolish the U.S. Senate. She said, absolutely. Defund the police. Absolutely. Defund the Pentagon. Yes. Abolish borders. Yes. Abolish prisons. So a lot of these positions that are admittedly far left of the majority of Americans. Well, the chair of the Democratic Socialists of America made headlines again when she joined David Remnick of The New Yorker on the New Yorker Radio Hour. And he asked her about the phrase about taxing the rich, or specifically taxing the hell out of the rich.
But we do believe in taxing the hell out of millionaires. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what does taxing the hell out of them mean?
Yeah, I don't have like a solid, but I think.
But shouldn't you? I mean, if you're the co-chair of the DSA, shouldn't you be more specific than just taxing the hell out of something? What exactly do you mean?
So again, it's democracy, right? And we have to look at what we need to spend and what we need. We don't want to depend on the existence of millionaires because that means people are still getting exploited. So yeah, we need to look at what we need to pay for in the interim, what sort of tax base we need for that to happen, and then and build from there.
So, again, that is Megan Romer. She's one of the two co-chairs of the DSA. Also, I have to point out the fact that she said the fact that millionaires exist means someone's getting exploited. That is indicative of her Marxian approach to economy, which is the labor theory of value, meaning that if someone's making millions of dollars, someone else by necessity is not getting their worth, which is, I disagree with that.
Oh, what the hell? Get in line. I mean, and I'm frustrated that, this is happening inside the Democratic Party. Now, for those of you taking glee that it's happening inside the Democratic Party, it's also happening inside the Republican Party, too, with MAGA, who doesn't necessarily share the same principles as true conservatives.
Right.
And in fact, if you want to talk about socialism, a lot of the socialism we're seeing is coming straight from the Trump administration. I mean, we now have companies that 10% of their ownership is owned by the federal government. NVIDIA would be one of those companies that President Trump's invested in. That makes no sense to me. But this DSA stuff makes me sick and frustrated. I have a lot of young people that are around me inside of Democratic Party politics, right, who are excited to go out and work on campaigns and consider themselves to be DSA. And we have some DSA folks right here in St. Louis. Megan Green considers herself, the president of the St. Louis Board of Aldermen, considers herself to be a Democratic socialist. And so when you talk to these young folks, for instance, when the guy won up in Michigan, I said to the younger folks that we're working with, well, he says he wants to do away with Thanksgiving. He doesn't really mean that. He's just upset with this, that, and the other. Words really do matter here with what's being said. She wants to tax the heck out of millionaires. What does that mean? I really don't know. So I actually think that DSA is more reflective of anger and frustration and income inequality that's going on in our country, and that there's really some naive thought process behind it because their policies are not well thought out, if thought out at all. And what's alarming to me is the amount of people who are signing up and considering themselves to be DSA that I don't think that they even really know what it means. I have a young man in particular that's been working on campaigns with me, and he and I have been having this argument. And he's like, well, they don't really mean it. And do you really think we're going to close all the prisons? Well, of course not. No, but that's what you're espousing. That's what they're saying. And ultimately, they're in the boat with me. And I think it's important that the Democrats take back control of the United States Senate. I really do. I think this president is unhinged. I think he's weaponizing government. I think he's spending like crazy. And to have the DSA now be essentially the face of the candidate for Michigan, I think is ultimately going to cost the Democrats opportunity to win the United States Senate.
Yeah.
And this stuff has long-term consequences. But the one little bit that I've picked up, though, is the people who are all fired up with it, they don't even really understand what they're for. They're just angry. They're angry in the same way that the MAGA people are angry about what direction government's going and what they're going to do and transgender. They're just angry people. And long term, the consequences have real meaning, particularly inside my party.
I agree. And
does that make sense?
No, it makes a ton of sense that they are angry. And to go back to what you said, I agree. There's no conservative party left.
No,
I'm alone on an island. That's how I feel. There's no true conservative party left. But to your point about a lot of the people who are hitching their wagons to the Democratic Socialists are doing so emotionally, out of anger, and I understand that how expensive things have gotten is a real issue. I get that, but it also, to me, to hear the phrase that I hear from a lot of my progressive friends a lot, late stage capitalism. Oh, this is late stage capitalism. To me, is ignorant. It lacks perspective.
What does that even mean?
Right, that capitalism is failing, that it's meant to be a predatory system that's going to trample the poor and the average and so forth. But it lacks perspective, and I think it's intellectually lazy, because I would argue we're in early stage capitalism. Why would I say that? Well, I'm not alone in this. This is a historian who said the fact that, and it sounds gross, so bear with me here, but historians will say the fact that we are not all dying of diarrhea and sitting in our own filth is amazing. And it's thanks to capitalism, because for 99% of human history, diarrhea was like the biggest killer because we didn't have plumbing. We didn't know enough about sanitation. We couldn't make things widespread. But when you had the Industrial Revolution and you had capitalism that not only made the parts like pipes and plumbing and different manufacturing necessities like that, made it widespread, made it available. It was the competition to push out plumbing and toilets and medicine faster and faster and faster. Is capitalism perfect? Absolutely not. Are there bad abuses? Absolutely. But you're going to see that with other systems. Tell me that there's not abuse in socialism. Tell me there's not abuse in communism. We have seen more people die in communist societies.
And capitalism also, has some regulation in it, which has helped ensure that, there are balanced rules in the process. Capitalism helped create unions, which ultimately, I think, have helped create the great middle class. As we saw unions diminish in this country, we've seen the middle class diminish. Having said that, I think we're at a place now where unions are growing for the first time in my lifetime. And that's because people are pushing back. They're uniting together to make the system work. But at the end of the day, we're all capitalists. I mean, I don't begrudge people who have a great idea, come up with it, go out and make a product, sell it, and make money. I especially don't begrudge those people who employ others and provide a good living and still make money. And that's one of the beauties of capitalism. And I think it's, you use the word lazy. I think most of what we hear from the DSA is a truly lazy argument. Is there some truth to what they're saying? Is there some abuses in the system of the prison system or some abuses in the Absolutely. But rather than going and fixing and working on those, they want to throw the whole baby out? No. I mean, it's just crazy. And then what's crazy for me is young people with really quality educations. This one gentleman that I'm talking about that's really passionate about this DSA in particular is a WashU student. He's a senior. He's an A+ student and thinks this is the answer. Yet when I pointed out to him, well, when she says that they want, or when they say they want to do away with Thanksgiving or well, they don't really mean that. No, they really do. That's what they're saying. So I get that you're frustrated that the system seems to be loaded and for the others, for the wealthiest among us. But there's ways to reform that system without throwing it completely out, because you wouldn't be at Wash U getting the education that you had unless you had a capitalistic society that perpetuated this opportunity for them.
Yeah. And what you said, too, about when people tell you who they are, believe them.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying about it's the Wisconsin gubernatorial candidate who just won the Democratic primary.
Oh, she annoys me.
And believe people when they say this is what we believe or what we want to do, because wasn't that the argument to justify Trump was, he doesn't really mean it, or the Heritage Project, the Project 2025.
Yep.
Well, they don't really mean it.
Right.
But they were saying it, and then as it turned out, they did mean it.
Yes.
Shouldn't we apply that as well to the DSA? And my concern is, as someone who's been historically conservative, and I've watched the Republican Party fall apart. And I say it was, hijacked by MAGA, but they allowed themselves to be hijacked. If you're going to get conned, you kind of have to want to be conned, and they did. And so I saw the Republican Party fall apart and become kind of the mess that it is. I don't know what it looks like post-Trump. But you need at least one healthy party. And if the Democratic Party allows itself to be hijacked, that really scares me.
By the DSA. Yeah, that is what most scares me. And now, the positive, though, is I see a pushback coming from the Democrats as opposed to the Republicans. There was absolute silence. So, sure, you had some of the Lincoln Project folks and some of the stalwart conservatives, a George Will, a Bill Kristol, who were like, no, what Donald Trump's pushing here is not conservative policy. Mm-hmm. And I love the bastardization of the word conservative, because if you look at most of the things that Donald Trump's pushing, whether it be tariffs, etc., those are not conservative principles that he's pushing. In fact, it's usually something you'd hear from my side of the aisle. And so I am encouraged that Van Jones and James Carville and even Chuck Schumer, who I think probably needs to move on, are pushing back at this stuff. Nancy Pelosi, probably the great regulator. I mean, they ran against her being this ultra liberal for all those years. She's a person who's protected institutions and stood for the democratic principles that we are and have fought back against the DSA.
Well,
now it feels as though the DSA is going to overwhelm us. And are we going to be in the same situation the Republicans are, where we're a party that's derailed? Yes, I think so. And the big test for me is going to be this Michigan race, because we did have a traditional Democrat, and now we have potentially a DSA candidate who's going to come in there. It might ultimately cost the Democrats the opportunity to control the United States Senate because of this insurgency inside of my party.
And you mentioned Nancy Pelosi.
Love her.
She is a true San Francisco progressive, which is very progressive, which shows you how far left the DSA is if Nancy Pelosi seems moderate, comparatively speaking. Mm-hmm. Nancy Pelosi isn't moderate. She's a true progressive.
She's a true progressive,
yes.
a liberal who also respects, institutional norms.
I know we had Van Jones audio, Matt. Do we have time here?
You want to take a break and we can get to it next segment?
Yeah, let's do that. That is Michael Kelley. Thank you for your texts that are coming in at 314-436-7900. I'm Amy Mark Scores. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
I'm not one to say I told you so, but I switched to Pure Talk over a year ago, and ever since, I've been telling people there's no better wireless company out there. Well, a few months ago, a massive survey was conducted. 123,000 people were asked to rate their wireless carrier in 4 categories: coverage, support, data, and overall value. Well, the results are in. Guess which wireless company was the only wireless company to get 5 stars in every category? Yeah, Pure Talk. 5 stars, every category. To celebrate, Pure Talk is offering the first 3 months of any plan for just $15 a month, including their top-tier unlimited plan. No contract, no commitment, just a very inexpensive way to test drive the only American wireless company with 5 stars in every category. Just dial pound 250, say micro, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service will take it from there. Again, pound 250, micro. And yes, I told you so.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep.
50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose. And millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
St. Louis City SC and Schnucks are teaming up once again for our annual week-long food drive. This Wednesday, August 5th through Tuesday, August 11th. Visit your local Schnucks to donate non-perishable food items benefiting Operation Food Search and help us beat last year's total. Join the effort this August to help City SC and Schnucks kick hunger in our city. Find out more at stlcitysc.com.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circa Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circa Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circa Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hey, this is Kevin Wheeler, and I want to tell you about Burn Balance Complex, which you can pick up at Supplement Superstores, and you can find a location at supplementsuperstores.com. Look, Burn Balance Complex is different, okay? It's a game changer. It is a complete all-natural metabolism system. It's not just a fat burner. If you're someone that doesn't want to get a prescription, if you don't want to go get injections, Burn Balance Complex can get your metabolism rocking the way that it's supposed to. And you notice it really early on because you start to notice clothes are fitting a little differently. You're seeing results, which then kind of gives you motivation to keep on going, right? Well, on top of the metabolism boost, you're also going to notice reduced stress with lower cortisol levels, appetite and craving control, which is absolutely critical to staying on a plan, plus all-day focused energy, no jitters, no crash at the end of the day. And look, it's not magic. You got to do the work, but Burn Balance Complex has made that work so much easier for me. It'll do the same for you. So get out to Supplement Superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off right then and there, and you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Welcome back to the Chris and Amy show. That's Amy Markscourse over there. I'm Michael Kelley. We're going to be with you all the way till noon. Then we have the Gas House Gang.
That's right.
Cardinal Baseball's back again this evening. We had a pregame show at 5:50. First pitch at 6:45. The Dave Glover. What better way to spend a hot Monday than listening to KMOX? Of course, if you want to continue to send us your texts, 314-436-7900. A lot of you are excited about the fact that I'm saying some stuff that I think is pretty reasonable, and I'm sure it's coming from a lot of my conservative friends out there. Well, while you may be taking glee in the fact that there's a Democrat who's pushing back against some of the wackiness inside of his party, know that I'm doing it because you all didn't do this in the Republican Party. The Republican Party's been taken over by an imperialistic, non-conservative demagogue and Donald Trump, and as a result, you've all lost your principles. I don't want that to happen to my party. I want my party to be a party that stands for government playing a role in helping those who can't help themselves, fighting for Missouri, for the American middle class, fighting for the principles of working people. The Republican Party lost that. And so when I see this DSA movement, while I can appreciate some of their arguments and push back against the injustices in the system, their solutions are wrong. And I'm not going to sit quietly and allow my party to be taken over by people who don't stand for democratic principles in the way that a lot of you and the Republican Party embraced the ridiculousness of Donald Trump, which are not conservative principles.
Yeah, we brought up Nancy Pelosi, with whom I would have a ton of disagreements policy-wise, obviously, if you're a conservative and she's a progressive. But I said this, going back 8 years ago, then 6 years, 4 years, that when the squad was really big and you had AOC and Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and then Cori Bush, Nancy Pelosi reeled them in and said, wait a minute, we've got the Democratic Party first before you have a lot of these more fringe policy beliefs and stances. The Republican Party, Mitch McConnell didn't do that.
Nope.
They let it, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, all of the stalwart institutional Republicans allowed Trump to turn the Republican Party into what it is, which is a complete transformation into MAGA, into his likeness. And the Democratic Party, again, we've seen it move further left, but we saw some effort from Nancy Pelosi.
Well, and we're still seeing a pushback from many of us. And I think there's a lot of traditional Democrats who are watching what happened on the Republican side that are just saying, no, I'm not going to participate in this. I happen to be one of them. I can appreciate the grievance that they have in many instances. I think their solutions are wrong, and I'm not going to sit idly by and allow my party to be taken over by people who don't share democratic principles. The Republican Party allowed themselves to be taken over by an individual who is not a true conservative, and it's just unbelievable to me to watch them. And then they are truly throwing out real conservatives. Now, you may be upset that they also participated in the system where we find compromise, which I think is one of the beauties of American democracy. But throwing out Tom Tillis, throwing out James Cornyn, throwing out those are truly Republican principled people. And you're replacing them with people who don't have conservative principles. They have an allegiance to Donald Trump.
One of the louder voices when it comes to warning the Democratic Party about that in the DSA is Van Jones, formerly in the Obama administration. You hear him here on CNN.
The Democratic Party is now Blockbuster. These kids are Netflix. There was a guy named Gil Scott Heron who had a great poem. It was called "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised." Gil Scott Heron is wrong. The revolution is being televised and podcast and streamed and elected tonight. Why can you spend $60 million and get whooped like this? Because the old model was you get the donors to get the consultants to buy a bunch of ads and you win. That's how you get attention. This movement says, I don't need donors, ads, I don't need consultants. I'm going right to the people with TikTok and grassroots, and they've disintermediated the entire donor class, disintermediated the entire consultant class, and this is a revolution. And so this is going to happen again and again. The Democratic Party is now Blockbuster. These kids are Netflix. We are selling CDs out the trunk. This is Napster becoming Spotify.
So he's talking about with the DSA being able to utilize TikTok and social media and podcasts to really grow, and how you had some of these DSA candidates, Michael, that were able to win in races where millions of dollars more were spent on the more traditional Democratic candidates in those primaries, and yet the DSA candidate won. And I mean, he's right. You are seeing young kids especially just bypassing the traditional routes to growing a name for themselves. You have people like Hassan Piker, who is marching around with DSA candidates who said America deserved 9/11, has come out relatively pro-terror in a lot of ways, hates capitalism, hates the American system. He's got a lot of followers.
Totally. And I know a lot of you are on both sides are frustrated with what's happening. And if I could just make one plea here, what Hancock and I have been talking about for the longest time is that this really comes down to primary elections. And unfortunately, most of us aren't participating in primary elections in either party. And the people who are showing up inside of the Republican primary and the Democratic primary are the extremes. They're participating in the primaries. In many instances, that is the election. If you want to see real change, you have to go and participate in these primaries. And I would encourage you, if you live in Illinois, that means participating in the Democratic primary. If you live in Missouri, as much as I hate to say it, it's participating in the Republican primary. That's how you make sure that a Steve Ellman, a true conservative Republican, gets elected rather than a imperialistic demagogue extremist like Bill Eigel, because people have to participate in the primary. The less people who participate, the more radicalized people are going to be that come out of those elections.
That is Michael Kelley. I'm Amy Mark Scores. Great discussion. We love hearing from you. We're going to take a sharp left turn. Talk Cardinals baseball with KMOX Sports Open Line, Redbird Rush Hour, Cardinals pre- and post-game host Matt Pauley next.
It's not really a sports show. It's just a show.
So I don't really have a sports show, but I love the Cardinals. I am born and bred St. Louis, went to my first game like so many of you, 4 years old. Couldn't believe how green it was standing there next to the players with my dad, and now I go with my kids. You get it. So when you listen to the DGS, it's going to be a slice of life happy hour, but we're always going to talk Cardinals.
The Dave Glover Show at 1. Then stick around for Cardinals baseball.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
The temperature's on a rocket today. It's 85 degrees in downtown St. Louis, expecting it to go to 95 with real field temperatures, whatever that even means, in the hundreds. We have an extreme heat warning taking us all the way through Wednesday. I would imagine it's going to get extended. It's going to be hot out there. Make sure you take care of yourself and watch out for your pets. Weather has been sponsored by Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today, now offering 20% off your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
For over 25 years, Styles Clothing Company has been serving the St. Louis community, and we're just getting started. Custom screen printing, embroidery, and promotional items for sports team uniforms, schools, companies, family reunions, and events. Quality products and service guaranteed. We want to thank all of our customers. Call now and mention you heard this commercial on this station for 15% off all month long this August. Styles Clothing Company. Call 314-831-6559. That's 314-831-6559 or visit stylesclothing.com.
And Doug.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons. And lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen. And oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live. And you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Summer is officially here, and that means the family internet, it is working overtime. All our lives are always online, and that's why I rely on i3 broadband. Traditional cable just can't keep up, but i3 delivers 100% true fiber directly into my home for ultra smooth, reliable performance. Plus, they're a local provider that actually treats you like a neighbor. Skip the fake fiber. Head over to i3broadband.com/radio today or call 866-806-5485 to upgrade, because life runs better on fiber, and i3 broadband is here for you.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey, it's Dave. Right now, buy 4 windows and get 4 for free and 48 months with 0% interest, same as cash. Call 314-334-2522. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
As Riley O'Brien comes to the plate, there's a ball that's popped up down the left field line. Pereira on the run, makes the catch to end the ball game. Everson Pereira diving from the backhand to end the ball game with a dazzling catch. Redbirds win this one by a score of 7-4. Go Paulie!
Paulie's a great name.
Go Paulie!
What'd you do for Paulie? Anything?
Me, Paulie, I was responsible.
Paulie, we're here because of you.
And with that 7-4 win at Busch Stadium against the Colorado Rockies, your St. Louis Cardinals are right back at 500. And to talk a bit more Cardinals baseball now is Matt Pauley, host of KMOX's Sports Open Line, the Redbird Rush Hour. And also, you know him as the Cardinals pre- and post-game host. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm doing all right. How are you guys?
We're doing pretty well. I was watching some baseball with my dad over the weekend, and we kind of noticed everything's coming up J.J. Weatherholt. He's been a real bright spot despite when we've had some losses, the ups and downs of the season. Weatherholt's been good.
Yeah, he's been. I mean, he's slumped a little bit, but I mean, for the most part, when you consider who he is as a young guy and what he's going through this year, and just his ability to go out and really be clutch, it's been so much fun to watch play out. So I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed watching Weatherholt, and he came through again yesterday with that big double there in the 8th inning to be able to send the fans home very happy on a hot day at Busch Stadium, and for sure that was good to see. But I mean, like I mentioned, the numbers since June 1st have come back a little bit for him, but that's okay because he's a really young guy who's going through his first year of Major League Baseball, and you're going to hit a wall since June 1st. You know what? His OPS is still plus 700 since June 1st, so it's been very good.
Well, he had that go-ahead run, obviously, in yesterday's game. The Cardinals back at 500. They're playing 500 over the course of their last 10 games. Do you see them slowly working their way out of the slump that they found themselves in over the past few weeks?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no clue what's going to happen with this team. I think they stick around in the playoff hunt, which they're in right now, because for if no other reason, the other teams that are around them, I'm not a big believer in any of those teams either. So it's not a shot at the Cardinals. I just think they continue. They're in the hunt right now. They're 3.5 games out of a wild card spot right now. I would suspect that they can stay in that same neighborhood. You'd love for them to get back above 500 and stay back above 500. That's kind of a thing that would be something that would be a really good story about this team this season, this year in a rebuilding year. But they've got a tough schedule coming up. The Phillies are coming in now. The Phillies are certainly not a slouch. There are some easier teams that are going to come up on the schedule too here in the final month plus of the season. Sometimes that doesn't seem to help them when they're not playing great teams. So I don't know. I don't have a prediction on it other than to say that I think when all is said and done, they're at least going to be in the neighborhood of kind of where they're at right now.
Hey, it's really unbelievable that we still got a chance at that wild card, and we've got some consequential elections coming up. Or not elections. What's on my mind, Paulie? Some games coming up with Chicago and Cincinnati. What type of team is Philadelphia?
We got to stop for. Is it muscle memory if the word consequential comes out of your mouth, then elections has to be the next word?
Exactly.
I thought he was going to go with an angle that I didn't even know about. I thought, oh my gosh, what baseball elections do we have?
Oh, that's hilarious. I love that. Consequential, boom, elections coming out immediately following.
What kind of team is this that we're going to be facing this week? Where do they stand on the issues, huh, Paulie?
You know, those Philadelphia Phillies, they are extremists if I've ever seen them. So
they have a long history of involvement in America's biggest issues. Philadelphia does.
Yeah, you're very right. I have no clue what question you just asked me, but there are some important games coming up, and you look at what's coming up. So The Philadelphia is a team that right now is still fighting for a playoff spot. They're tied with the Diamondbacks for the final wild card position in the National League. So these games mean a lot for them. Then you have Chicago coming in. Cubs are in pretty good spot in terms of their playoff positioning, but obviously Cardinals-Cubs always a big deal. Cincinnati is going to be the team that you match up against after that. That's going to be a 5-game series as they've got a makeup game in there as well. And Cincinnati is just both them and the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's kind of interesting because when the season got started, the Cardinals were widely selected as the last place team in the National League Central, and the Reds and the Pirates have certainly had their moments, just like the Cardinals had, and maybe we're talking about this at a bad period because the Cardinals have been playing a little bit better baseball recently, and the Pirates and Reds are in the opposite of their moments, but the Pirates haven't been very good, and the Reds haven't been very good here recently either. So, and then you've got Philadelphia and you got Baltimore, you got Pittsburgh. So, I think there are these games mean something for the Cardinals, and most of these games that you're playing still mean something for the opponents as well.
What do you think of Michael McGreevy, who was pretty close to having, a quality start when he makes he gives up some hard contact, but coming off of some tough losses, do you like how he's been able to turn things around?
Yeah, I think he's been fantastic. He had one really tough start against the who was that? It was against Chicago. It was Chicago. Mm-hmm. He had the one start against Chicago where he only got an inning and 2/3 and gave up 7 runs. Now, he did not pitch deep into the game his next time out against the Yankees, so it wasn't a great start because he only pitched 4 1/3 innings, and that's not good. But he was at 91 pitches, so it was not a thing of effectiveness in terms of the results. It was a thing of he threw too many pitches to go deep into the game. So yesterday, I thought he was pretty good. It was a hot day yesterday. Mm-hmm. It was a really, really hot day. He threw 102 pitches, 5 2/3 innings. Would you like him to be able to finish that 6th inning? Yeah, obviously you would like for that to happen, and maybe the game plays out a little bit differently yesterday if that happens, because Colorado scored the 2 runs there in the 6th inning, and the way the bullpen was used, maybe the bullpen is used a little bit differently. But I think Michael McGreevy is having just a really, really special season, and I've enjoyed every moment of it.
So it's been a fun season to watch, like we said, despite ups and downs, despite the record being almost identical to last year's, week to week to week. You have hope for the future. You like seeing the young guys produce. You like the energy here. You doing the pre-games and the post-games, how has the interaction with fans been in those post-game shows? Are fans riding the roller coaster as hard as ever?
That's a good question. I think it's hard to put everybody in the same bucket because you've got people who have different thoughts on things. There are definitely people out there. I just saw something. Somebody had tweeted out yesterday. Hey, look at the Cardinals. They traded Sonny Gray, and they traded Wilson Contreras, and they traded Brendan Donovan, and here they are still in the neighborhood for playoffs. And somebody's reaction was, well, if you wouldn't have traded those guys, maybe you'd be in the playoffs. And that's that attitude exists, and I disagree with that attitude because I think you had to make those moves to try to get this organization on the path to being able to get to the World Series quicker. I think most people understand that, but there are people who don't. I think after games, they're still, if the Cardinals lose a tough game, I don't think fans are sitting back and going, well, it's a rebuilding year. It doesn't matter. No, it does matter. It's a Major League Baseball game. Of course it matters. And it stinks to lose games in a really tough fashion. So people I'm talking to after the games might be rightfully frustrated. I get frustrated when the two things kind of come together, where somebody tries to apply this season doesn't matter to a game where the Cardinals lose in a big way, and do it in a way where they don't see the big picture. That's the only time I kind of get frustrated with it.
Matt, I've got a non-Cardinal specific question for you. The best.
Okay, is it political?
No, it's not political.
Okay.
The best record in baseball right now is the Milwaukee Brewers. Many people think the best team in baseball is the LA Dodgers. They don't have as good a record. Is the Milwaukee team that good? Are they just Are they the best team in baseball?
They're the best regular season team in baseball. If the Brewers and Dodgers were to play in a 7-game postseason series, I would still take the Dodgers. But that's not to say what the Brewers are doing is at all fluky. The Brewers are incredible. They continue to be incredible. It was the exact same scenario last year where they had the best record. Was the best record in baseball or best record in the National League last year? Whatever it was, they were essentially the number 1 seed in the playoffs last year. They ended up losing to the Dodgers in the NLCS. So I think the same thing would play out. I think the Brewers are a little bit more built. It's not that the Brewers are not built for the postseason. I think the Dodgers are really built for the postseason. So that's why I kind of give them the postseason edge. But I don't say that to take anything away. And if the Brewers pulled it off and found a way to get to the World Series this year, it wouldn't shock me, because this is the best, and I was in Milwaukee for a lot of it. When you think about their really good run that really dates back to about 2017, I think this is the best Brewers team I have ever seen. They're just fantastic. And the fact that they just added Dustin May to a rotation that already includes Jacob Mizorowski and Kyle Harrison, and May was good in his first start for the Brewers. They don't have any holes. So they're really good. And I hope to see them and the Dodgers in the NLCS again this year, because I think that's going to be the best matchup.
Yeah, and should that make us hopeful that, with of course, the Dodgers buy everything, but Milwaukee's built this, kind of like we're trying to put the foundation to do right now?
Yeah, I think so, and I think the Cardinals have some advantages that the Brewers don't have. And their GM, or their president of baseball operations, Matt Arnold, he's got the same ties back to the Tampa Bay Rays that Chaim Bloom has, and they kind of come from the same mold. Now, the difference being is the Brewers build this thing up, but then they rarely are able to extend their own players and keep them in Milwaukee. They just can't afford their players once they get to free agency. That's going to be the difference with the Cardinals. Hopefully, there is a point where the Cardinals are producing just as many high-level players, and they're going to be able to do a better job of being able to retain them, because the Cardinals can and will spend more money than the Milwaukee Brewers.
That is Matt Pauley. You hear him on Sports Open Line, Redbird Rush Hour, which we have tonight leading up to the Cardinals pregame at 5:50.
Yeah, so 5 to 5:45-ish or so with Kevin, Bernie, and me tonight.
First pitch, 6:45. Thanks, Matt.
You bet. Thank you.
Yo, Paulie, your sister's with me. I'll call you back later. See ya.
And again, you can listen to the Cardinals take on the Philadelphia Phillies tonight. First pitch, 6:45. Pregame, 5:50, but Redbird Rush Hour leading up to that. And then today at noon, don't forget, more Cardinals talk with the Gas House Gang. In the meantime, Michael Kelley is here in Studio B with me, and I believe he has some thoughts on the Meta glasses, and I'm glad he does, because I do too.
Hey now.
And it's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX. And let's see. It's August. We'll be creeping up into fall in just a few weeks here. But whenever there's a seasonal change, that's when bugs and pests tend to try to find their home for the winter. And a lot of times your home looks great to them. So what you want to do is call Rottler. In fact, when you call Rottler, a real person will pick up the phone, and you can get same day or next day service. They've got technicians ready to be dispatched to your home. That first inspection is free. And really, I mean, the summer, right? You're still hanging out outside. Maybe you're noticing mosquitoes. Well, call Rottler, because they can deal with those mosquitoes in your yard. They have a program that actually reduces mosquito populations for weeks at a time. Also, stinging insects, if you're dealing with that, wasps or carpenter bees. That can not only be a hazard for you and your family and your kids, but it can hurt the structures around your home, like wood fences or wood sidings. A lot of those stinging insects will bore into those wood structures. So whether you're dealing with a problem now, right now in the summer, or you want to make sure you're prepared for the changing weather come fall, make sure you visit Rottler, Rottler.com.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
St. Louis, are you ready to rock? AC/DC is bringing the Power Up Tour to the Dome at America Center Tuesday, September 8th. Hear legendary hits like Back in Black, Thunderstruck, and Highway to Hell, performed live by one of the greatest rock bands of all time. Don't Don't wait on tickets. They're still available at Ticketmaster.com. AC/DC, The Power Up Tour, Tuesday, September 8th. For more information, go to KMOX.com/events.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Running a business shouldn't feel like a juggling act. One app for accounting, another for inventory, one more for sales, and somehow they never work together. Or you could use Odoo, one fully integrated platform with all the business applications you need. CRM, inventory, accounting, marketing, and more, all working together seamlessly. Stop juggling software and get back to growing your business. Try Odoo free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Things in Washington, D.C. may seem unsettled at times by their lack of progress. But one department in the U.S. government is progressing. That is the IRS. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS is in full function to collect on unpaid taxes. If you've been putting off a tax problem, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and get it resolved. Don't think the government is too busy to focus on my issues. Too many of my clients thought the same. So if you owe back taxes or haven't filed returns in years, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and finally resolve your tax issues. Remember, if you have tax problems, you have legal problems. Call the Lance Story Law Firm. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Or call 314-260-6120 or visit LanceStoryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Onyx, I keep having stomach issues. Please make me a doctor's appointment.
Okay, are you suffering from diarrhea, bloating, gas, or oily stools? If so, you may want to ask your doctor if it could actually be a problem with your pancreas, called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI.
My pancreas? How is EPI treated?
A prescription medicine like Creon, pancrelipase, is used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes. Creon is the #1 prescribed treatment for EPI.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. You can learn more at 1-800-633-9110.
Before your appointment, visit creoninfo.com. That's CREON info.com.
The Chris and Amy Show is video streaming now on KMOX's YouTube, X, and Facebook pages. Click and subscribe.
Michael, are you wearing Meta glasses?
No. No. And have you seen, okay, so Meta glasses they've partnered with Ray-Ban.
Yep.
And they're the glasses that people wear that have an ongoing camera that can tape what's happening all the time.
Yeah.
And most recently, during sports, they had Kylie Jenner, who's one of the Kardashians. Mm-hmm. And she's out marketing this stuff. And I'm just like, I think they're creepy.
I do too.
People who walk around and why? Why would you want to have glasses that videotape constantly? What purpose does that serve? And why are they selling these? There's demand for this in the marketplace?
I know. It's like it's the surreptitious nature of it that you don't know someone's recording you. Can someone hold up their phone and record you?
Sure.
And you see it? Yes. Can they be sneaky about it?
Yeah, we usually call them Karen.
Can they be sneaky about it? Sure. But when I go to the gym, for instance, like I use the treadmill at the gym, and like I'll go to Planet Fitness, and there's signs everywhere. Don't record. Stay off your phone, or if you are going to record, don't have other people in the shot. Obviously, the same thing with a locker room. But if someone has glasses on, my first thought is not, are those Meta glasses? And I understand they're bulkier, they're a little bit bigger. Maybe if you're very in tuned with glasses, you would automatically recognize them. But I don't know how it's not a privacy issue or legal issues, because are they going to take their glasses off when they go into the locker room? And also, we have one-party consent recording here in Missouri, but what about other states?
Right.
Where you need two-party consent.
And, and obviously the Kardashians will sell anything. And she's outselling it, but I would think that most glasses that record would be used by creepy dudes who maybe, like you said, at a gym or behind a lady who's running on a treadmill, and they're videoing them by, staring at them. And then the Kardashian girls, I just like, what, why do you want these? For what purpose do they serve? And they're selling them, and they have commercials, and they're using big celebrities to do it. So there must be some type of market. But what is the desire to have glasses that record? What would you do?
I love the skier, the slalom skier, Michaela Schifrin, who's one of the most decorated U.S. skiers, one of the most decorated skiers of all time, but she happens to ski for the United States. And follow her on Instagram. One of the few kind of celebrity type people that I follow. Again, this gold medal winning athlete. And she did an ad for Meta glasses. And a lot of the comments were super negative. Like, why would you do this, Michaela? And you can't even say that, well, it would be fun for her on the mountain. Well, no, you don't wear. You're wearing goggles when you're skiing. And extreme skiers and hikers, they don't wear glasses. They wear like a GoPro.
Right.
And I wouldn't want to wear glasses. A lot of times you couldn't wear those glasses if you're doing an extreme sport because you're wearing goggles or something else of that nature. So again, a lot of people have a price tag if they paid you enough. I mean, if someone offered you $1 million to do an advertisement for Meta glasses.
Oh yeah, I'm a cheap date. I could be bought and with for much less than $1 million.
Right. And so I don't know. I guess that's what it comes down to. But maybe when we talk to Brad Young tomorrow, we can ask him quickly about just the legal issues with it. I can't imagine that there aren't going to be privacy concerns and legal concerns with these glasses.
Ugh.
That is Michael Kelley. I'm Amy Mark. Scores one more hour of the Chris and Amy Show. Joining us next, Andrew Egger, White House correspondent and co-author of the Morning Shots newsletter for The Bulwark. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
When it comes to your health, having knowledge is powerful, as they say. And so if you could better understand what your risk was for chronic disease before you even have that first symptom, how powerful would that be? Siteman Cancer Center's Your Disease Risk, and that's what it's called, Your Disease Risk, provides personalized insights to help you understand factors that might increase or decrease your risk for chronic disease and cancer, whether that is environmental, whether it is genetic. With easy-to-understand information and prevention guidance, Siteman will help you take those meaningful steps toward a healthier future. Just a few minutes today could make a difference for years to come. Siteman.washu.edu/YDR. Siteman.washu.edu/YDR.
Summer is waning, sadly, I know, but you've had enough time now to really assess how your outdoor space is working. Is it working for you? You've probably noticed whether the deck is starting to buckle or splinter and needs replacing, or you'd really like a fence to separate you and your neighbor. Whatever it is in your outdoor space, it's never too late to call Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. Now, what does that mean, the sign you have the very best? Well, first of all, Chesterfield Fence and Deck has been around for 58 years, a third-generation locally owned family company. They also have an incredible reputation because they only use the best quality materials, and they have their own installation crews, which is very important because they have years of experience. And Chesterfield Fence and Deck is going to stand behind everything they do. When you mention me, Debbie Monterey, they'll also take 20% off your next outdoor project. So go with the best. It's Chesterfield Fence and Deck. You can visit them in person, or they'll come to you, or visit online now at chesterfieldfence.com.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
At 11 o'clock, we've got a cloudy sky downtown at the Arch. Right now, 87 degrees, and we're in a multi-day heat wave. An extreme heat warning is in effect across the St. Louis area through 8 p.m. Wednesday. Expect afternoon highs in the mid to upper 90s with high humidity pushing heat indices up to 109 degrees today and tomorrow. With overnight lows staying near 80, buildings will not cool off easily, increasing the risk of heat exhaustion. We've got the full forecast from Dave Murray coming up. St. Louis County is taking a far softer approach from the city when it comes to regulating new data centers. The county's planning commission meets this afternoon to discuss a proposed 300-foot buffer between homes and data centers. That's half the distance the city of St. Louis is considering, and unlike the city, the county says it is offering tax breaks. The president tells Axios that the U.S. is now semi-negotiating with Iran amid reports from Iranian state media that no formal negotiations are underway. That's our top national story from ABC News. It comes as Iran makes a list of demands and represents a big change in rhetoric, as we hear from ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy at the White House.
In past weeks, we've heard the president talk about a last chance for Iran. In recent months, since the war began in late February, he's talked about a complete surrender that he's demanded. And now you have the Iranians trying to put international pressure on the United States, on the global economy, by threatening to choke off traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, now demanding reparations and an end to the blockade.
A 25-year-old mother has been taken into custody this morning after triggering a fake Amber Alert.
It was reported Sunday night at 10 p.m. when the mother of a 1-year-old told the SLMPD that a Dodge Charger had been stolen with her child inside. City police began to track the car when the suspect called 911 and told dispatch there was no child inside the vehicle and that he intended to surrender it. The vehicle was then found near Highway 370 and North 3rd Street in St. Charles. Upon questioning the suspect, police learned 3 facts. The child was never inside the vehicle, the mother did not own the vehicle, and it was never stolen. The SLMPD confirmed the child was safe in the Lincoln County area around 2:30 this morning. The mother is charged with the Class A misdemeanor. Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
During the first part of 2026, we continued to see incidents of fraud and scams targeting the community, particularly our senior residents.
At City of Wildwood Precinct Police Captain Jim Mundell, in a post on Facebook, he urges residents to be aware of unsolicited phone calls or online messages requesting money, banking information, gift cards, and crypto or Bitcoin. Mundell says the scams usually use wording that creates a false sense of urgency. We've told you about the sale of the Keener East and West parking garages to a civic group. Now those new owners turning their attention to recruiting new restaurants and storefronts. Arch to Park Equity Fund CEO Dustin Allison says having nonprofit ownership allows them to structure more flexible lease terms.
If we do need both of them, is there a possibility that we might be able to go vertical on one or both of those garages in some creative way with housing or something like that if it's cost effective and if there's demand for it?
That could be the future of those buildings. Project leaders say 80% of the 75,000 square feet of ground floor retail across both structures is currently vacant. The Dow from Stifel's down 39 points to 53,997. There's a crash, 170 south. They've cleared at Airport Road that had the right lane closed. Taking a look at the traffic map, otherwise things look pretty smooth across the St. Louis area.
It is summer in the city, sunny skies, hot and humid all afternoon. We should peak at a peak of degrees. The record is 105 from 1934, so not even close to record heat. Tonight, clear, very warm, very humid, 79 for the low. The city only dropping back to about 82, 83 degrees. Tuesday, sunny, hot and humid again, 96 will do it for the high on Tuesday. Tuesday night, partly cloudy, warm and humid, 79 degrees. Still hot and humid on Wednesday with a isolated thunderstorm possible, but 95 on Wednesday. I still like mid-80s in here with scattered showers and thunderstorms Thursday and Friday. So a little bit of hope on the horizon. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
At the moment, it's a cloudy sky, 87 degrees downtown at the Arch. Just crossing the AP wire, at least 47 dead, more trapped below buildings after a powerful earthquake has shaken the country of Colombia in South America. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
Chris Raunchy, Amy Mark scores because life is too short for boring radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Michael Kelley, Amy Mark scores with you on a Monday morning. And joining us now, as he does every Monday, is Andrew Egger, the White House correspondent and co-author of the Morning Shots newsletter for The Bulwark. Of course, also a St. Louis native, a 314 representing over in Washington, D.C. How are you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing really well. How are you guys today?
We're doing pretty well. Over the weekend, we were actually, it's a good question for you, just talking about like the Sunday scaries and whether or not you get the Sunday scaries. When you're covering Washington, D.C., and the news cycle never really stops, is there a Sunday scaries for you, or does it no because Donald Trump can truth social something on Sunday morning or Sunday night and it just feels like another day?
Well, it's a little different for me because I write a morning newsletter Monday through Friday, so I kind of get the Saturday scaries, right? I do a lot of labor on Sunday afternoon, but I get to kind of ease into it. You know, I go to church on Sunday morning. I get back to work at like 1 or 2 p.m. So it's not really like a staying up late the night before sort of thing. But yes, we're big enough now. The Bulwark's big enough now that there are actually times when I really feel like I can clock out. And if there's some super breaking news, it's like probably somebody else will get up on video for that. Somebody else is slated to do that, you know, at 8 a.m. on a Saturday or whatever. But certainly a couple of years ago, there was a lot more of that when we were a much smaller shop.
You know, I feel like we've not recycled, but you see the same headlines with Iran, right? When there's a new development or not, or with AI, or with something that the president has said. And it's kind of this never ending cycle coming out of the Capitol. So within that cycle right now, what has been the biggest story you've been working on or that people are talking about right now?
Yeah, let me focus on Iran for a minute, because I do kind of feel like even though we've talked a lot about the endless cycle of this thing, it does seem as though we are entering some new and maybe some kind of scary territory here, because there has been a lot of reporting over the last few weeks about missile stockpiles in terms of various kinds of munitions for the U.S. military getting dangerously low. Maybe dangerously is not quite the right adverb there, but certainly concerningly low, where we're starting to run low on certain kinds of munitions that we've been using a lot of in Iran, that we've been giving a lot of to Ukraine, that certainly a lot more would be called for. It is being called for in Ukraine right now and would be called for if we were to resume, significant combat operations against Iran. And it sort of seems like Iran is clocking this, and Iran is really starting to push their luck here. The set of demands that we got from Iran over the weekend is really the most far-reaching and radical in what they are asking of anything that we have seen at any point in this war. I mean, sort of the whole theory of the case for the White House here is that we are putting a long-term squeeze on Iran, and that the longer we maintain this blockade of their oil, and the longer we, periodically pepper them with artillery and missiles and all these sorts of devastation from the air, that they should be getting, more compliant and more willing to come to the table and get a deal. And in fact, what we're seeing as there's this reporting of munitions and as the midterms get closer is exactly the opposite. It seems that Iran is getting bolder, that they are feeling like they can put more pressure on the White House, more pressure on the president, and what they are asking for is now sort of wildly outside the bounds of what anybody would have considered even like a potential outcome of this war just a couple of months ago.
Do you have some of the specifics of what they are asking this time that has pushed it to the next level?
Sure. So basically what we were talking about, if you remember that memorandum of understanding of a couple of months ago, the idea was basically Iran is going to accept some kinds of restrictions on their nuclear program, and they're going to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. And in exchange for that, we are going to give them a lot of different stuff. We're going to drop sanctions. We're going to end the war. We're going to pull back our forces. We're going to stop attacking Iran's proxies. We're going to unfreeze Iranian assets. And if you remember at that time, there were a lot of more hawkish, more Iran hawk people, especially in the Republican Party, who were like, what on earth? What is this deal? Why are we being willing to give Iran all of this just in exchange for some possible promises about nuclear to come a little bit later? But what they're asking for now is significantly beyond even that. I mean, the question of the nuclear program in Iran is basically not on the table in terms of what their demands are right now. The idea of reopening the Strait of Hormuz is really the only thing that Iran is putting forward as a possible negotiating lever. And even that, Iran is now saying will be controlled sort of in perpetuity by them and by the country of Oman, taking a pretty hefty bounty essentially on every ship that wants to make it through the Strait of Hormuz in exchange for all the same stuff that they wanted before, plus a little extra. Still complete demand that the United States pull back forces, stop attacks on their proxies, stop issuing threats against Iran, unfreezing all their assets, paying war reparations, keeping all sanctions off. I mean, it really feels like what would have been sort of like the first the first diplomatic offering from a brash Iranian state, if they were winning the war 4 months ago or something like that, right? I mean, it really is this maximalist demand, and I don't think it seems necessarily likely that the White House or the United States will cave to this demand or even to most of these demands. But it does not bode well for the conflict that they are plainly feeling like they are in as strong or stronger of a negotiating position than they've been all along, 5.5 months into this war.
And isn't this the fact that it's gone 5.5 months? The longer the war goes on, the more it feels like a victory, or the more the Iranian government can spin it as a victory, that look at us standing up to the U.S. government. We're setting the terms. We're pushing the negotiations longer and longer. Is that how it's being perceived in Iran, that this is a winning strategy?
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly the case that they're making. And there is a gamble to this, right? I mean, the president had made it pretty clear a couple of months ago that he would be willing to walk away from this conflict with a lot less than he and the United States had demanded at the beginning. That was the whole sort of theory of the memorandum of understanding, is Trump saying, look, we've dealt them a pretty significant blow, but now we really do need to get the Strait of Hormuz reopened. We're going to take our win and go home. Of course, that deal then fell apart. Now what we are seeing is that Iran is really kind of rolling the dice that the president's appetite for more war here is basically spent. That even though they are not giving him the same sort of negotiating fig leaf that they did with the memorandum of understanding, even though these demands they leave the United States with really nothing to come home and sell it diplomatically. It's just a bad deal for the country, full stop, for the United States, full stop. They are really betting that Donald Trump, after however many cycles we have now seen of negotiating and then bombing and then negotiating and then bombing, and always threatening more and more extensive and more dramatic bombings against more and more civilian infrastructure, but always backing off of that at the last minute. I mean, they're really betting that the president will not now follow through on the threats he's made over and over again to target, mixed use or civilian infrastructure, bridges and power plants in Iran, which would be extraordinarily devastating for Iran if the United States were to choose to do that. Would also have a lot of collateral damage for the civilian population of Iran. Would be risky diplomatically. Would be risky in terms of how it would potentially run afoul of international law. And so the president has threatened and then sort of walked back from the threats of doing exactly that so many times that it really seems as though Iran is not really treating that as a credible negotiating threat anymore, and that is freeing them up to ask for more and more and more in these negotiations. But as I say, nobody really ever can predict Donald Trump with 100% certainty or accuracy, and there is a risk in what Iran's doing right now.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it that the president's bombastic tone and statements seem to have been counterproductive to ultimate resolution. At the same time, I think the president was right in saying that we had caused chaos and really decapitated their leadership. Has Iran been able to put itself back together? Like, do we even really know who we're negotiating with now? Have they got another side to the table, or is it still kind of really disjointed?
Yeah, I mean, it is disjointed to an extent, right? I mean, we have not been aggressively pounding the government now for a series of months. I mean, if you remember the early days of the war, we were almost too effective. The United States was almost too effective in decapitating that political leadership. The president would talk about how the guys who were in charge, we'd killed them, and the second string team, we'd killed them, and the JV squad that would be coming up, we'd killed them too. And it was a little hard to find an actual team to negotiate with. The political leadership of Iran right now, to the extent that we know much about it, it seems to be the same political team that we have been negotiating with for a number of weeks and months. It's not like there has been dramatic new upheaval in that political leadership since the moment of the memorandum of understanding, for instance. But still a certain degree of opacity with that. And look, like I said before, Iran's bluffing a little bit here too, right? I mean, it's not as though the United States can't still deal a lot of damage to Iran. The weird thing is that in a sense, both countries are playing with kind of weak hands here, because the president of the United States was hoping from the very beginning that this would be sort of a quick, easy contest, that he would be able to dangle the possibility of more military intervention without ever really contemplating the possibility of a serious ground invasion, all-out war against Iran, where we really go in and try to, topple the government with ground troops. And so even though that remains kind of a possibility here, you can kind of see why, if you're Iran, you are looking at that more and more as a bluff, that you can kind of plan on being a bluff and raise your own demands accordingly.
Over the weekend, the Senate, I guess, began its 5-week recess, and they passed a bipartisan bill to avert a federal government shutdown. They also confirmed Todd Blanche as Attorney General. Anything else that we missed or they did or we need to keep our eyes out on before, or I guess since this recess has now taken place?
Yeah, no, that was the main thing. I mean, we were all curious whether Blanche's confirmation would go through. As usual, this ends up coming down to a single one of these sort of swingier Republicans, or these Republicans who in theory are swingier. Ended up being Bill Cassidy this time, who very famously provided the 50th necessary confirmation vote for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as Health and Human Services Secretary last year, in exchange for some promises on vaccine policy that Kennedy then famously did not keep. But Cassidy was again the swing vote here, after Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski both said they would vote against Todd Blanche. Did not believe he would represent enough independence at the Justice Department, with good reason, because Todd Blanche's qualification for the job is that he is Donald Trump's former defense attorney. And Donald Trump wants a Department of Justice that is run essentially as a law firm for him at the White House. But Bill Cassidy essentially leaning on the fact that Blanche was going to remain in that job anyway, right? I mean, he's currently the acting attorney general. If the Senate had not confirmed him, Trump had made it pretty clear he was just going to keep Blanche in that acting job. And that is what Cassidy leaned on in his explanation for why he voted for Blanche, that it was better to get a Senate confirmed person in that post for stability at the Justice Department, and leaning on some of the promises that Blanche made about the anti-weaponization fund that would have paid out money from the Treasury to people who claimed they had the Justice Department weaponized against them during the Biden administration. Blanche's promises that would be shut down was also important to Cassidy in that decision.
We are visiting with Andrew Egger, who is with the Bulwark and also does the Morning Shots newsletter. Going to get a little TMZ on you before you leave us, Andrew. Sure seems like the president's got a new set of flowing locks on top of his head. Has anybody had the guts or asked the question of the White House or the president if that, in fact, that is the case? And has there been a response?
If they have, I have not seen him directly asked about that. I've obviously seen all the online speculation. I hesitate a little bit to lean in too much on that. It's also hard to do too strong of a demarcation of a before and after here. I mean, the president's hair has been a real work of engineering now for a number of years, decades, really. And so if he went in and got a few more a few more bits of artificial help on top to help him look and feel his best, to help him look and feel his Donald Trumpiest, it's not that much of a rupture with what's come before. I mean, we really are talking about perhaps the most artificially constructed politician, at least at that level of the presidency, that we've ever seen. It works for him in some ways, right? I mean, he is obviously an extremely old president, but the questions of the age have never really dogged him the same way they dogged a guy like Joe Biden. And in part, that's because, even though he doesn't look natural, he obviously so much about his appearance is artificial and has been for some time. He doesn't really code as old. He just kind of codes as Donald Trump, and that brand has existed for so long. I really do think that helps in terms of the public perception of his age, and it's a big part of the reason why he has not suffered that particular political weakness like Joe Biden did.
That's a really good point. He doesn't code as old. He codes as Donald Trump. I don't know how that's so true. Andrew Egger, thank you so much. We appreciate talking with you. Make sure you sign up for the Morning Shots newsletter for the Bulwark. He is the White House correspondent for said publication. Thanks, Andrew. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Always fun.
That's Michael Kelley. I'm Amy Mark Scores. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, it's Brew. Between my radio show, filming content, editing videos, and trying to stay connected with family, reliable Wi-Fi isn't really optional anymore. I just need it to work. And that's why I like that with Xfinity, you get the most reliable, fiber-powered Wi-Fi with the best equipment at one price for 5 years, guaranteed. No contracts or commitments. Plus, Xfinity makes getting connected simple with same-day Wi-Fi so you can get online in minutes. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Use of fiber or coaxial cable. Learn more at xfinity.com/same-day Wi-Fi. Xfinity. Imagine that.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circa Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circa Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circa Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Soldiers Memorial Military Museum looks at American military history through the lens of St. Louis. From the Revolutionary War to the present day, the gallery showcases stories of local service members and delve into the city's wartime history. Outside, the Court of Honors includes monuments to those who lost their lives in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Open Wednesday through Sunday. Admission is free. Find information about special exhibits at mohistory.org/memorial. That's mohistory.org/memorial.
I felt a jackhammering pain in my jaw.
Like someone sawing my bones. Barbed wire in my shoulder.
Like a cattle prod in my hip.
Like I put my foot in a blender.
Pain is different for everyone. But where pain starts, Jurnavix suzetrigine begins.
Jurnavix is a non-opioid 50 milligram prescription tablet for adults with moderate to severe acute pain that reduces pain signals before they reach the brain. Before those signals tell the brain to feel
Like I punched an angry beehive.
and pain reduction can finally begin. Do not take Jurnavix with CYP3A inhibitors. Avoid use with grapefruit or liver problems, as these may increase side effects. Tell your doctor about all your medicines if you are pregnant or breastfeeding. Jurnavix may make certain medicines and birth control less effective. Side effects include itching, muscle spasms, rash, and elevated muscle enzymes. To learn more about Jurnavix, ask your doctor. Call 1-833-589-PAIN or visit jurnavix.com.
What if you could better understand your risk for chronic disease and cancer before symptoms ever begin? With your disease risk from Siteman Cancer Center, you can take a quick, evidence-based assessment that looks at factors like family history, lifestyle, and everyday habits to provide personalized insights about your health. Your health story is shaped by more than genetics. Nutrition, physical activity, sleep, tobacco use, and routine screenings all play an important role in your future well-being. Knowing how these factors work together can help you make informed decisions and take action earlier. When it comes to prevention, knowledge is powerful. In just a few minutes, your disease risk can help you better understand your health risks and provide practical guidance to support a healthier future. Take the first step today. Prevention begins with awareness. Visit siteman.washu.edu/YDR. That's siteman.washu.edu/YDR.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
100 years, one legendary voice. We live KMOX's century of service. Classic audio, photos, videos, and more at KMOX100.com.
All right, I had to bring back our aviation expert because I have another airplane story. So here's Michael Kelley on his third aviation story of the day. A flight from British Columbia to Toronto. That's a long flight. That's a cross-country flight. Was canceled on Thursday because a child would not sit down and buckle a seatbelt before takeoff.
What?
So apparently, the crew members said a young child was, quote, standing in their seat and would not secure their seatbelt. Attempts by the accompanying parent and crew to address this were unsuccessful. The aircraft could not take off in this unsafe condition, and because they wasted so much time trying to get the child to sit down, the flight was canceled. The crew elected to return to the terminal, and all of the passengers disembarked, and the time required to bridge the aircraft, deplane the passengers in question, retrieve their baggage, refile flight plans, and other paperwork meant that it was too late to depart.
All right, I got a problem 1A, and then very right behind it 1B. Okay, 1A is with the parents.
Yeah.
No. You know, the kid sits down. If it doesn't happen and you can't control your kid, you're getting off of that airplane.
You miss your vacation because your kid
Right.
is
I used to have
terrible.
poker straight hair like you. It was instances of bad behavior like that I kind of got smacked upside the head.
That's why your hair's curly.
That's why I got curly. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Discipline your child. What's going on? Now, 1B is what's up with that pilot? Because it seems to me he maybe did, or she maybe didn't want to do that flight. Because if I'm the pilot and this is going on and my crew's back there dealing with it, I stand up, I go back there, and I say to Amy as the parent, guess what? You're getting off of the plane with little Susie here because the rest of us are going to wherever they were going.
Yeah.
So I have as much problem with the pilot there as I do the parent.
I think they just waited way too long because, again, they finally kicked the parent and the kid off the plane, but because they had to, I guess, put the bridge back up and then also get their luggage out of the hold. But no, absolutely, you have to.
Right.
If you can't get your kid to sit down, then I'm sorry you're going to miss your vacation.
Well, and this new style parenting that we have where kids are presented with choices and, you know, I make joke about like the little kids where the mom says to the kid, okay, Tommy, we're going to go outside right now and it's 30 degrees so you can put your coat on and make mom happy. or you don't have to wear a coat, and you could what kind of choice is there? When my mom or dad said we're leaving, or you're sitting down, you're walking over here, you're going to do jumping jacks now because I told you to do jumping jacks. You did what you were told to do.
I can't imagine talking back.
A choice.
Right.
You have a choice to put your seatbelt on. You're going to put your seatbelt on because I told you to.
That's right. As my dad would say, this is not a democracy.
Do you think that like this could be part of the reason we don't have kids? Because like I would be apoplectic if my child acted like that. It would not act like that.
No, that's why I wanted kids, so I could instill discipline. I always joke. Have you seen The Sound of Music?
Oh gosh, yeah.
You know yes, I love the whistle system.
Snazzle, Jozzle. I love it. Whatever their names were, you know, he'd blow the whistle and then they'd say their name.
I liked the whistle system. I was on the captain's side before Maria got there.
Yes. I would love to be Captain Von Trapp just to be able to sing Edelweiss, though, every night.
We opened a huge can of worms.
Yeah, you could totally be the nun, and I'd be Captain Von Trapp. We could sit around and sing to everybody.
I wouldn't know how to sew clothes out of curtains, though. I would come down like Carol Burnett with the curtain rod still in the curtains. Oh, we needed more time for this. That's Michael Kelley. I'm Amy Mark Scores. When we come back, Miranda Nazaro is a senior technology reporter for The Hill. She covers AI, and she will talk to us about some new major AI issues, such as an AI company hacking into another AI company when it wasn't supposed to. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
The original Gas House Gang was loud, scrappy, unshaven, and impossible to ignore.
Typical Gas House Gang baseball.
The KMOX version, still loud, still scrappy, better shaving habits, and still impossible to ignore. Ackerman, Ranji, Claves, and Miklas. The Gas House Gang, weekdays at noon on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
When pain starts to slow you down, BJC Healthcare and WashU Medicine orthopedic specialists are here to help. Nationally recognized leaders in orthopedics deliver care that's informed by research and personalized for you. From everyday aches to complex injuries and recovery, we're here to help you get back to doing what you love. Find an orthopedic specialist today. Visit bjc.org/orthopedics or call 314-362-9355.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
Hot enough yet for you out there? If not, just wait a little bit. It's 88 degrees. It's going up to 95. We've got real feels on the hundreds. An extreme heat warning taking us all the way through Wednesday. I bet it gets extended. Keep your radio tuned to KMOX for all the changing weather conditions. Weather has been sponsored by Financial and Tax Strategies.
You know you're getting older when your back goes out more than you do. I've been helping families prepare for retirement for over 38 years. Tune in to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg, Saturdays at 7 a.m. Or visit checkwithgary.com and let's help you retire younger, richer, and with less anxiety.
Hey, this is Kevin Wheeler, and I want to tell you about Burn Balance Complex, which you can pick up at Supplement Superstores, and you can find a location at supplementsuperstores.com. Look, Burn Balance Complex is different, okay? It's a game changer. It is a complete, all-natural metabolism system. It's not just a fat burner. If you're someone that doesn't want to get a prescription, if you don't want to go get injections, Burn Balance Complex can get your metabolism rocking the way that it's supposed to. And you notice it really early on because you start to notice clothes are fitting a little differently. You're seeing results, which then kind of gives you motivation to keep on going, right? Well, on top of the metabolism boost, you're also going to notice reduced stress with lower cortisol levels, appetite and craving control, which is absolutely critical to staying on a plan, plus all-day focused energy, no jitters, no crash at the end of the day. And look, it's not magic. You got to do the work, but Burn Balance Complex has made that work so much easier for me. It'll do the same for you. So get out to Supplement Superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off right then and there. And you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Listen up. If you have not paid self-employment, business, or individual taxes in years, the IRS will find you. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. I offer real solutions. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Story, today, and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. At the Lance Story Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120 or visit LanceDruryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Michael Kelley, Amy Mark Scores with you on a Monday. And joining us now is Miranda Nazaro. She is a senior technology reporter for The Hill. She covers artificial intelligence and politics. And Miranda, first of all, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I mentioned this last week, and I think I just kind of knew some hazy details about it, and that was the Trump administration's new framework for, I guess, vetting AI models ahead of their public release. But apparently the Trump administration decided to keep its new framework out of public view, and the tech policy community is a little bit surprised by that because we don't really know what that framework is. Is that right, that the framework is there, we just don't know exactly what it looks like?
I think you got it exactly right. Essentially, the tech policy community, other technology companies within the industry, maybe not the biggest ones, but other firms for sure, were all sort of taken off guard last week when the White House hosted a number of companies there to brief them on the framework. Those included the large language models that we all know, OpenAI's ChatGPT, Anthropic, Meta was there, Microsoft, Google, a lot of them. However, once they were there, they were told that this, quote, framework would not be released. Now, this framework followed an executive order from President Trump in June, which basically directed federal agencies to work together to basically build guidelines that across industry, if a firm wants to give their, or not give, I guess, lend their, preview their model to the government for up to 30 days before that model is released, the government will test it for certain cybersecurity risks, safety checks, and basically those checks, those risks, all the details are within that framework. We always knew that what they call benchmarks would be private. Trump wrote that in the EO itself, but just the general guidelines as to how the government is assessing AI, people expected that to be public. So I think it definitely caught people off guard, both in the policy and industry side.
Okay, this may be a dumb question, but we're looking at Anthropic, Meta, OpenAI, Microsoft, and all of the AI geniuses in those companies creating these models. And the government says, all right, before you release them to the public, we need to test them, like you said, for cybersecurity reasons and so forth. Who is the government getting to test them? Does the government have a Sam Altman working for them?
So interestingly enough, you actually do have a good amount of people who came from industry who end up going to work for the government. in the AI testing world. And what that usually looks like is, so under the Commerce Department of the federal government, there is a sub organization literally called the Center for, I'm going to get it wrong, but it's it's the Institute for AI Safety Standards, basically. And these are people who probably have already worked on the private side. So just like the government is trying to do, AI firms themselves have all their own teams that are testing these models prior to release. Essentially, some of these same types of roles exist in government. So there actually is a mechanism for this. And that sub-organization called Casey has been doing this since 2024. However, with just the heightened security risks that we're seeing now with AI, the Trump administration, I think, is trying to codify this as their own process, though we have seen something very similar, and OpenAI and Anthropic have been actually giving their models since 2024 to the government for this reason. So it's not necessarily a new structure. And you also have people within other agencies like National Security Administration, NSA. They're doing it from a different perspective. There's also an entire sub-organization, the Cybersecurity Infrastructure and Security Agency. So there are a few different places. That said, sometimes having too many has actually been a problem for the government because it's unclear who's doing what at this point.
If something were to go wrong with one of these AIs that is currently out there, do the regulators, meaning the government, have a switch that they can flip? Or does anybody have a switch that they can flip? And is it legal for them to flip that switch off?
So it gets very murky. In terms of the government, there is not necessarily that we know of a formal kill switch. However, we saw with both Anthropic and OpenAI earlier this summer. Anthropic, it was more severe, where the Commerce Department put an export control against two of their latest models. That essentially gave them hours to shut down the model from public use. So this was the closest thing we've seen to a kill switch. And I mean, it's pretty close. It's giving them a few hours to turn it off. That export controls are things that the company will get fined for if they do not comply. So that's really close to it. OpenAI's case, it seems like there were meetings and OpenAI basically agreed to stop the release of their new model until about 2 weeks later. That was not a formal export control, but something, again, similar. They said it was at the request of the Trump administration. So I think if the government hypothetically wants a kill switch, it's not going to be through the form of, in the White House, there's a literal light switch. But clearly these companies are scared of going against the government's wishes right now. And it seems like there is some mutual understanding as to how to handle it. In terms of the company side, that's even murkier, because if a company had that, they're not very likely to share it. That said, these companies, like they did with Fable and Mythos with Anthropic, they took it down in a few hours. So I think it's fair to say these firms do have the ability if they really need to.
Before we move on from the government process that we were talking about for testing private AI models ahead of their public release. So since that process, those benchmarks, what they're even testing for, what they are looking to regulate, that is not known right now to the media, to the public. Is there any word that it will be released eventually? Because isn't that kind of important for us to know where the government's drawing the line on AI?
I think you bring up the concerns that a lot of other people in DC are having right now. There is no indication whether this will ever be made public. I will say the White House, like honestly any White House, tends to take initial news, take the feedback from it, and then recalibrate their strategy. I would not be surprised if in a few weeks, a few months even, you will see maybe at least some sort of statement on it, like something officially saying, giving a preview maybe. I just think that the tech policy community, and when I say that, I mean think tanks and you have trade associations, that sort of thing, they don't want to necessarily be on their bad side either. They're helping a lot to kind of form public opinion about policy. And it would not surprise me because I think what's confusing for people is why it necessarily that part of it needs to be secretive. It's supposed to actually be a way for both the government to do things, but also for industry and the public to say, okay, these are the rules that they are asking of every company. So you can't accuse the government of favoring one over the other. But if you don't release it, as you mentioned, we have no idea what standards they're using. And so I think for the sake of transparency, they could eventually succumb to some of the pressure, but really not a single peep of indication at this point.
All right, Miranda, last week, and again, we're talking with Miranda Nazaro, senior technology reporter for The Hill, covering AI and politics. Last week, Meta revealed that one of its models breached another company during cybersecurity testing, which is now, I believe, it's the third major tech giant to disclose a hacking incident involving what they're calling a rogue AI model. Where are we? Where do we stand right now with some of these AI models going rogue?
Yes, it's been a pretty wild few weeks for the AI cybersecurity community, and Meta was just the latest in a series, as you mentioned. OpenAI and Anthropic also disclosed similar incidents. So the best way I always try to describe it, because it is a bit scary when you hear, oh, an AI model went rogue, it sounds like robots are taking over. Essentially what happens is when companies go to test their models to see how well they're doing before release, for example. They want to see if they can handle cybersecurity. They just all sorts of things that they test for. When they do that, they're usually disconnected from the internet, meaning they call it a testing sandbox. And the idea is that because this AI model has no access to the internet, it's completely human controlled at this point. But in all of these incidents, the model was able to get out of this sandbox. Now, I should note with Meta and Anthropic's case, this was because of a misconfiguration with another company, essentially. So this was actually a human error, at least to start, whereas OpenAI, that model itself figured out a way to get out on its own. Anyway, once these models were out of the sandbox, they then, without any human prompt to do so, breached the systems of multiple different companies. And this is a pretty big sign of where we are today with AI development. It's not just about AI being in the hands of bad actors, foreign adversaries, that sort of thing, but it's also just a matter of at what point is an AI agent or model going to, say, go off on its own and maybe it accidentally creates something bad. And so I think these are fulfilling some of the more doomsday approaches that we've been seeing about AI. In these cases, it seemed to be they weren't working on anything catastrophic, life-threatening, anything like that. But I think it got people thinking, well, if they can do this, then what's to say we're not close to them doing something violent or with biological warfare, that sort of thing.
Miranda Nazaro, senior technology reporter for The Hill, covering AI and politics. Really good stuff. Thanks for joining us, Miranda. We hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too. Yeah, Michael, it's the AI stuff, man.
Scary.
It's scary. It's weird. It's simultaneously scary because it's advancing and scary because sometimes it feels very, very stupid. It feels easy to trick some of these large language models.
And I have a hard time believing the government has people that are smarter than the companies who are inventing this stuff.
That's why when she said that, I thought,
I just don't buy it.
Who are these people? But, I mean, if they were formerly working for those companies.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're headed to a really strange place when it comes to that stuff, because even the kill switch, like, they got to have some way to turn this stuff off, because if they're going to go hack each other, what's to keep them from hacking the nuclear codes?
That's right. Like, don't unplug me, Dave. Don't unplug me. That's Michael Kelley. I'm Amy. Mark scores a few more minutes of the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons. And lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen. And oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live. And you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run, because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When was the last time you watched your home movies?
Disasters strike unexpectedly. Every year, American families lose the one thing they'd run back into a burning building for: their family's memories. Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Adam. We started Legacy Box to help save your family's most important recorded moments so you don't have to worry.
Load Legacy Box with your old movies, film reels, and shoeboxes of photos.
We work our digitizing magic, converting those memories right to the cloud so they're safe and accessible forever.
It's fast, we always send your originals back, and it's done right here in the USA.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box. Better Homes and Garden, Real Simple, and Inc. magazine are all talking about Legacy Box.
New York Times columnist David Pogue says, "Have them digitized. I wish I'd done it sooner." Take action. Save your family's memories today with Legacy Box.
Go to legacybox.com/value to get an incredible 50% off your Legacy Box. That's legacybox.com/value for 50% off while supplies last. legacybox.com/value.
St. Louis City SC and Schnucks are teaming up once again for our annual week-long food drive this Wednesday, August 5th through Tuesday, August 11th. Visit your local Schnucks to donate non-perishable food items benefiting Operation Food Search and help us beat last year's total. Join the effort this August to help City SC and Schnucks kick hunger in our city. Find out more at stlcitysc.com.
The 3-2 pitch with the runner going a swing.
Ready to elevate your game? Join the MBA Sportscasters Forum on Tuesday, September 15th in St. Louis. Learn from Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and Hall of Famer John Rooney as they break down play-by-play, reporting, interviewing, and covering the game. Then cap off the day with the Cardinals versus Giants at Busch Stadium. Step into the booth, sharpen your skills. Go to KMOX.com/events for details and registration.
You know, here in St. Louis, word of mouth still matters, and I'm pretty careful about who I recommend, especially when it comes to something as personal as estate planning. I'm Tom Ackerman. My family has been working with the Lederman Law Firm for over 20 years now, and the reason is simple. They don't just create documents and send you on your way. They help make sure your plan works. Because let's be honest, life changes. Family needs and circumstances change. Laws change. But most estate plans don't change over time as needs, circumstances, and laws change. They're outdated, sitting in a drawer. People assume they're fine, and their plan will work when they need it to work. At the Lederman Law Firm, it's not a one-time transaction. It's an ongoing process. They build a plan to protect your family and your assets, and then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it up to date as both your life and assets change. Check out the Lederman Law Firm at LedermanLaw.com or give them a call at 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
New Game Plus with Oxy makes your laundry smell incredible and fights stubborn smells, like the ones your dog Biscuit brought into your freshly made bed last night. But you wash that all away with Game, and now you're drifting asleep to the scent and sound of waves. Ah, no, that's the dog licking your ear.
Biscuit.
It just might be our greatest scent ever, now with odor-fighting power. New Game Plus with Oxy.
Chris Chris and Amy now. The Dave Glover Show at 1 on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Hot, hot, hot.
Amy, you heard it. I've been saying it in the weather all day. It's going to be 90-something degrees, but the real feel, whatever that means. I mean, no, the real feel ought to be what the real temperature is.
But it's the dew point and the humidity, and it makes it feel like you're going to die.
All right, I have a proposal for you.
All right.
Now, for 2 weeks extra of 100-degree humidity and kind of like what we have right now. So rather than it just being 2 or 3 weeks right now, it'd be like 5 straight weeks of this type of weather. If you took that weather, you would not have that 2 weeks of below zero, frigid, can't, function outside, walk outside, the inside of your nostrils freeze.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Or for an extra 2 weeks of the frigid, nostrils frozen, it's dark, you can't leave your house, you get an extra 2 weeks of that weather that we have where it's like 85 degrees, it's beautiful, you can have dinner outside. Where are you taking the trade? You taking the extra heat or the extra cold?
This is so easy.
Really?
I'm taking the cold.
Yeah. What?
Wait.
You want the extra
cold.
You want it to be extra cold.
Yes.
The extra 2 weeks of cold so that it's you get some so that
because
you don't have these days.
Yes. And
totally.
And let me say this. I'm a lifelong St. Louisan, and I know people complain about the weather, and I like to complain/talk about the weather. I love the seasons, and believe it or not, these really miserable, humid days, I even like some of those. I like the way it feels to just be so sweaty, right? And you're just so gross. But a couple of them will do you. You only need a couple. When it is week after week, and especially with running.
Like what we've been having.
When you're running and it's just so hot, and I'm like, I think I'm going to throw up. I'm so hot. So the cold, you can always put more clothes on.
Yes.
You can get cozy. Michael, you go outside for a brisk walk, makes you feel alive. You come back in, a fireplace and coffee. It's 100% take the cold.
Oh, totally. Goodness gracious. So how about all this rational conversation right here? Amy and I, Matthew, what?
No.
You would prefer two extra weeks of this?
Oh, yeah.
So that you didn't have to deal with the cold?
Yeah. I'm allergic to cold weather. I can't do it. I'll take heat. The way you describe warming up with coffee and a fireplace, like, give me that. Give me, a cold beer at a baseball game or sitting by the pool.
No.
Like, that's what I want to do.
The beer gets warm, and you're sweaty, and you have swampy pants.
Yeah.
Okay.
And no offense,
That's
but
just you.
Looking at you, I think you may be genetically predisposed to be more tolerant of the cold than the blazing sun over there.
I should be. I just am not. I'll take another month of summer.
Now, Michael and I are old compared to you. We could be your parents, which is wild.
Yeah.
Totally.
Isn't it old people get cold? Aren't the old people supposed to want the heat and the young people want the cold?
I run cold. I'm wearing 2 layers now inside this frigid office. I'll take another month of August before another month of February.
Yeah.
You know what? This should be our question of the week that we throw out there tomorrow.
Just hot, cold.
Yeah. Do you like it hot or cold? Which would you rather prefer?
2 extra weeks of the extreme heat to avoid the extreme cold, or 2 extra weeks of the extreme cold to avoid the extreme heat?
But
let's do that.
I got coffee with my mom and sister, and I had to sit on a towel because I was so sweaty.
There's nothing worse, and your clothes stink already.
Yeah. You
go
look
home.
gross.
Yes, you're just
love it.
You smell like a wet dog when you're done with the day.
But when it's cold, Michael, and you walk into your friends, you got cheeks that are pink and rosy. Your eyes are all bright from the brisk weather.
And then you're snuggly where you get to hang out with each other. And
I'll say it's more fun to dress up for cold weather.
Yes.
It's cool to wear pants and cool jackets and layer up.
Yeah.
You can't look cool in shorts and a t-shirt. It's impossible.
That's 100%
you probably gotta wear
true.
a big bucket hat.
Yeah, I
don't you?
do. SPF 100.
Well, that's Bucket Hat Matt Pajeski, Michael Kelley across from
Blessings,
me.
people.
I'm Amy Mark Scores. The Gas House Gang is next. I don't know how a cartoon alligator is too similar to a cartoon beaver.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by Dollar General.